My best cryptocurrency trade ever, and it wasn't Bitcoin. How many cryptocurrency trading channels are you guys following that are always bragging about their calls, but they never show any transparency or any of their live trades? How many other crypto channels are you following that are teaching people how to trade or offering a service, but they don't show anything transparently? They aren't showing any of their profits, they aren't showing any of their live trades, they don't have any experience outside of cryptocurrency. They really don't have any proof that they know what they're talking about. There's a ton of those guys, right? There's a ton of people out there that are doing that. Well, my name is Matthew. I am the lead trader of Crypto Traders Pro, and I've been trading for 7 years. 7 of those years were in the equities market. I was a professional equities trader, and now 2 of those years were in the crypto markets. I got involved in crypto in 2016 when I placed a $500 bet that Donald Trump would become president. I pulled that money out in Bitcoin, and I went away with my cryptocurrency trading career. Now I am a full-time trader, I am a cryptocurrency enthusiast, and I have one of the largest cryptocurrency trading communities that I run alongside Kurt, who is one of the biggest advocates I know for cryptocurrency. This video is going to take you through the eyes of a successful cryptocurrency trader. In this video, you'll see the exact trade that I made to take my account from $25,000 all the way up to over $180,000. And I know that does sound like a lot. I'm sure there's some of you guys that are not able to start with a $25,000 account, but you're in luck because there is a video series that you guys should check out that is focused entirely on building a small cryptocurrency trading portfolio. Because when I started, I only had $1,500 to kind of dabble into cryptocurrency with that I won from betting that Trump would become president. So I was completely playing with the house's money. So over the course of several months, I took that account from $1,500 all the way up to $10,000. Then I got up to $25,000 and kind of took off from there. And in this video, I ended up taking a $25,000 account from scratch, and I traded that $25,000 account all the way up to almost $200,000, and this was over the course of about 1 month. So this video is going to include one of the trades that I had during the month that I made over $100,000 trading. In this trade, I did make over $100,000 on this trade alone, and this was over the course of a month. It was a long trade, and I was going in and out a few times. You'll see it in the video. It's about a 3-hour long video, so I really hope you guys are prepared to watch this all, because you're going to get a ton of valuable information just watching this and seeing the commentary that I go through. I talk about what I'm looking for, what I'm looking to happen, some of the patterns I'm watching for, how I move my stop loss up and automatically get profits, how I scale in and out of a trade, whether I'm taking profits or I'm trying to add more size onto a position. I think you're gonna love this video, and I do think you should watch it on 2x speed because it is 3 hours long. It's gonna take a long time if you're just going through it on normal pace. So turn on 2x speed, you'll easily be able to keep up, because there's some times where I don't talk for a minute or so, because it's recording it over the course of a month. This video is essentially going to be me sharing my screen and talking over it with commentary. I'm going to be using the exchange Bitfinex, which is one of my favorite cryptocurrency exchanges that I still use to this day. And I also use some other tools such as CryptoWatch, and I believe I use TradingView as well. These are tools that I use every single day in the cryptocurrency markets to trade. Now in this video, I also show how I set up my screen, because I don't just use the normal platform on Bitfinex, because at the time of the video it was going through some issues, so I was using some other tools as well, and I kind of set my screen pretty uniquely, I think, that helps me trade better. Now before we head over to this trade, and I do want you guys to watch this whole thing, especially if you're learning or just starting out trading cryptocurrency, or you're feeling a bit unmotivated, like cryptocurrency, it's in a bear market, or it's going down in price, or you're struggling to grow your small account. This video is kind of going to give you hope and give you some motivation that, hey, this is possible. But behind this video was 7 years that I spent trying to figure out how to trade, develop a system, and then produce consistently profitable results. Now, before we head over to the trade, I want you guys to hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to our channel, because we have a lot more videos coming out. Might even do more of these live trades. I think this is a great way to show you guys exactly what I'm going through and exactly what I'm thinking while these trades are playing out. And again, I'm not doing day trades. I'm not sitting here every single day, buying and selling. I think that is way too stressful, and I don't find that as a good long-term strategy. My strategy is more so focused on swing trading. I'm looking at the daily charts, I'm looking at the weekly charts, and what's going on in the bigger picture. And then I'm making my trading strategies based off that. And I do take it to the 5-minute chart or the 1-hour chart, and I break those down as well. But I'm more so focused on taking my entries based on what the daily and the weekly chart are saying. I think this strategy could be implemented by anybody. I think anybody can become successful at trading if they're willing to put the work in. So if you want to learn more about trading cryptocurrency, or you've been struggling with trading cryptocurrency and you're looking to join a community of successful traders such as myself and other people that are even more successful than me. There's traders in our community that have been trading longer than me, that have larger accounts than I do. So if you're looking to get involved in cryptocurrency, if you're just starting out, or you've been struggling up to this point, or you're actually really good at trading cryptocurrency but you've kind of been doing it alone up until this point, I would highly recommend you head over to cryptotraderspro.com or check out the Pro Bundle package that we offer. It'll be down in the description below to join our community. You'll have access to the full course. This is one episode out of the 20 that we have in the course. Actually, this isn't even a full episode. This is one trade of one episode that we have in the entire course. There's a ton of valuable information there if you're looking to learn more about technical analysis, fundamental analysis, developing your own strategy, learning my strategy, reading charts, learning how to find the biggest winner, the big cryptocurrency winners before they actually become winners, like Ethereum or Ripple or even this trade that I have on here. There's a ton of information in the course, and it is the most comprehensive course that you will find because there is hours and hours and hours of live trades that you're going to be able to go through, much like this one, that are going to help you know exactly what I'm thinking when I'm sitting in the hot seat and looking at these charts, looking to make trades myself. Now, without further ado, let's head into the video so you guys can see my biggest cryptocurrency trade ever. Enjoy. So right now I'm looking at LTC USD, and I'm actually looking to take a position right now. This is the hourly chart. I'm doing some day trading, I guess. I don't usually do this, but I'd like to for the sake of the video. And if I do day trading, it's on these charts, the Litecoin USD, Ethereum USD, or the Bitcoin USD, I'm sorry. So I'm going to look to get another 100 Litecoin here. And it's actually the first hourly candle to make a new high. So this is a very bullish indicator that this is going to start reversing. I'm going to scoop up another 100 Litecoin here and see what happens. Actually, I'm going to move that up a little bit. I'm going to actually try and get it near 64.50. Let's see what happens here, see if I can get filled. I'll pull up the order book and order history here, see where the volume's going. So here's my order sitting right here on the exchange. I have 100 Litecoin sitting at 64.45. It's getting sold into a little bit here. I'm risking off this 64 area. I currently own 377 Litecoin, so I ended up actually selling it. My first order's in the low 60s. I just got executed. So right now I'm in the position. 64.45 is my entry. Actually scroll down here to the lower time frame chart. The area I'm going to be watching for the hourly. If we look at the daily, it's getting right near these resistance levels, but the hourly does look good. I'm not looking to hold this much that long. I am trading with margin. Let's go down to the 15 minute, see how that looks. So it does look like it's reversing a bit. It does need to stay above this line though in order to continue this bullish uptrend. Looking for some sort of volume. I actually just switched over to a new day. This is mainly when I like to trade. So when the candles switch over. So we just started a new day. It's actually I think 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm really looking for the breakout over this level, and if it doesn't happen, so be it. I'll take the I'm actually still at a significant gain on this play. because my first entry was down here in the low 60s. And Litecoin is one I've frequently traded. I've caught a lot of this move, and I caught a lot of this move. But it's not one, and I do occasionally hold on to it for long term and long periods of time. Like this whole run, I was holding on to it for probably 2 or 3 months total, but I sold half my stack when it got up here, bought it back down here at 46, and sold it all on this ramp up, and then got out on the sidelines. But I'm back in here right around $60 with 377 shares. Let's look at the 5-minute chart here. We just broke 65, and here we go. I actually caught it right here on this wick. It's a true test to see if we can get over 65 here. This is the 5-minute chart. There's actually quite a few big buyers on the level 2 or on the order book, and I'm watching this chart up here as well. So I actually guess I could put it like this. And this is how I'm watching it right now. Just using kind of this guide as my, I like this better than the order book on Bitfinex. So I'm gonna actually change my screen up a little bit here. So this is actually how I'd prefer to trade. I could see all the orders going through here. I don't have to keep scrolling down to look at the order book here. I use Crypto Watch for the chart, and I could see all the orders going through, where the money is. And right now it looks like we're pretty clear all the way up to almost 66, right before 66. So that's what I'm watching for right here. So ideally, if I was to think, okay, where should I take profits? Well, on the 5-minute chart, there's going to be some resistance up in here in the 66 area. If I was to look at the daily chart, well, there's a lot of resistance in here. So the high of day yesterday was about mid 66 area. I'm looking for it to break that. If I'm looking at the hourly chart, it's looking good for a reversal, or at least to base out a little bit. I really want that volume to come in like here. Like here. Like here. If that volume comes in, we'll be looking real good. So if I'm doing day trading, I'm constantly watching this. This will tell me what the money is doing. I'm more focused on this than I am the chart, because I'm able to see where the money's sitting, where the big orders are sitting, where people are trying to sell, where people are trying to buy. I focus on this. If I see green, that means the buyers are coming in, pushing the price up. If I see red, people are selling to these first buyers. So trading is a very patient game. Here we go, getting ready to test 65. There's only 152 Litecoin that need to be bought up. Just need some of this volume to come in. It's only 110 seller. It's very thin up here, almost all the way to 66. All we need is some buyers to come in. Here we go. Just broke 65. Boom. This chart seems a little bit slow on Bitfinex here because I'm watching right here. It says I'm up $28 on this entry, but right here it says 377 and 338. I'm not actually sure how much I own. Support's starting to stack. 400 right here at 65. It's just a very patient game here. Resistance coming in at 65.10, 700 seller. Might have some trouble here. Volume is really low right now. We just need a couple of these big candles, and we'll just push past this all the way to 66. This is a lot slower pace than the stock market. Here we go. There we go. There's a little bit more action. Yeah, generally it's a lot slower pace than the stock market, and that's just how the volume is not there yet, and it's getting better. It's a lot better than what it used to be, but compared to that opening bell, as soon as the stock market opened at 9:30, it was just chaos. I mean, these charts would go up. These candles would shoot up several dollars in seconds and then come crashing down. The reaction time you needed, and to stay thinking that quickly, it really made me a better trader, and it helped build that foundation for me. Moving into crypto though, I've turned into a lot more patient trader. Instead of trying to force a play every day because the market is only going to be open for a certain amount of time, crypto allows me to be a lot more patient because the market never closes. There's always some action. So hey, if I want to day trade, then I go on Bitfinex and day trade. If I want to just buy alts or coins and sit on them for a while and swing trade, then that's fine too. It's really up to my schedule and my strategy. Right now I'm doing a little bit of both. Still moving on up here. It's quite a few green candles in a row. I think I got a pretty good entry here, risking off the lows. Right about 64. It's so thin, all the way up to 66. We just need some buyers. 7:30 at night. It's in the East Coast. There should be people sitting here trading, but I guess a lot of Europe is in bed right now. So if you want to look at very specific orders, you can group them up. Like if I want to see in 10-cent incrementals, which I was just doing, just change this right here. And this is 50-cent intervals. So we could see to get down to $59, we need 43,000 sellers. All the way up to 71, it's 54,000 buyers. Looks like there's a large amount of sellers between 66 and 66.50, which is coming up here. Here we go. Now we're really moving. Now this is resistance. I think it's on the daily. It's coming right up to that level. Look at that hourly. See the first candle, the first green candle to make a new high. It's in an uptrend. I actually just had this kind of breakout. A little bit of an ascending triangle, but it just broke out, and this is what I'm seeing. So right now we're having a breakout on the Litecoin USD chart, and I actually got my entry right down here, right when it started getting near this red candle, the first green candle to make a new high. It's in an uptrend. It just had a breakout, and it's coming down to this key support level. Struggled here and here, breaking over this resistance. So now we're back with Litecoin, and it had a pullback after its first initial big move up, but what I'm looking for here is higher lows. And I'm not getting shaken out right now because this was the previous low. So I'm waiting for a higher low to form. It looks like it's starting to turn around right now. Gonna keep an eye on it. But that's what I'm waiting to form. And if it did get down here, I would sell out of it. But if it could form higher lows, then I think it's going to continue this uptrend. This is such a key area in this chart, though. It's right on this resistance line. Any moment it could technically just come right back down. Here we go on the 5-minute chart. Maybe I'll add a little bit more here. There's a lot of strong support on the buy side. More than the ask, all the way up to 66. Just trying to figure out the right entry here. Really don't want to rush into it, but I would like to add a little bit more to my position. So Litecoin just had this fake out, and now it's kind of rebounding. It actually, the volume is picking up here nicely, but it just started a rebound. Let's go look at the 5-minute chart. Had this little shakeout all the way down here. Big seller. The buyers come back in and scooped it up. It's really thin right now on the bid and on the ask. Some resistance up ahead at 65, but there's not much support all the way down to 63.90. So I'm going to stay true to my stop loss down here, but I might actually take another position. I just want that higher low to form, and this might be it. Look at this trend line that's starting to form. Had this huge run up here, came back down, right back to this trend line, then forming higher lows for several hours. So I'm going to look to try and snag some up and play off this trend line. Let's go back to the hourly. daily. Might be too early to tell on the daily, but I'm not looking to stay in this long, so I'll stay here on the 30-minute. I'm going to set an order down here at 64.30, another 100. So I'm still currently trading Litecoin USD on the daily chart and just checking in here with an update. The other day when I was covering this, it was actually gearing up and running into this resistance level. I thought maybe it might have the juice behind it, the volume behind it to break out, but it got stopped here. And these resistance levels, they're no joke. They actually are very accurate. And I decided to wait it out. I didn't sell because I think Litecoin's still a good buy right now with all the market drama going on. This is definitely the play I want to be in. So I'm waiting it out, and I still have my risk set. And what I actually did was I averaged down a little bit. And right now I'm playing off this trend line right here at the bottom. Draw it out quick. So right now I'm playing off this trend line, and this is my risk level. If it does drop below this trend line, then I'm probably going to exit my position and I'll take the loss and move on. But right now my position is roughly at a $61 average. It's not the greatest, but I was kind of late to the party in getting my funds in here. But this is my risk level. If it does come down below this line, I'll cut it, I'll take the loss, I'll move on. But I really think with all the Bitcoin drama going on right now, Litecoin's going to get a lot of attention, and it has been. Volume is starting to pick up over here. So all I'm looking for is one big day, and it'll push through this resistance level and really start to run. I took advantage of this red day yesterday, and I actually bought in. I caught the bottom of this wick. My entries were 56.1 and 57. So my first entries were at 64. I was anticipating this breakout here, but it's actually a little bit foolish of me to try and chase. Luckily, I didn't add big size. I was prepared to be able to average down, and that's exactly what I did. So I caught the bottom of this wick, this red wick over here, and now it's shooting up. So it's a little bit above my average position. I'm sitting at roughly $300 profit. Again, it's not much, but it's barely moved. If we can get this move going past these resistance levels and really break out here, this could really be a big play and have a lot of potential. But I'm going to be watching it every day, and I'll keep checking in and keep everybody updated. Another update on the Litecoin USD chart. Right now it's actually coming back up. It's tested this level right here at about $56, high 55 range, and it got bought up each time. So this is a good sign. It made that higher low that I was looking for. Again, this is the previous low point, and now the low point has moved up to here. So I did average down a little bit. My position is right on this dotted line. Not the best entry, but I think it'll all work out here. The thing I'm stressing here is the patience, because this play I've been in for several days now, and I've been down over $1,000 at one point, and I wasn't really affected at all because I'm not trading out of emotion. I'm trading based on the chart and what the chart is telling me to do. So I'm not worried about this intraday volatility. I'm noticing that it held this trend line. It didn't crack below it. Right here it did, but it ended up actually closing up here. So I wasn't worried about these red days. I figured it would probably have some issues getting above this area up here. There's some resistance here, so that same resistance also was over here. And I was kind of a little bit impatient when I started getting into this trade. It was up here. Figured maybe it'll break out, but I didn't add big size. I was prepared to add more on the way down, and that's what I did. I scooped up some more down here, and now my average is right near the middle. moving in here to the hourly, and this candle's big and there's a lot of volume coming in. This is good to see. This is how we get moving. So the next area of resistance I'm watching for is right up here on the hourly chart. And then if it breaks up past that, we'll be looking up here. And this is going to be a key level to break to head up to the 70s. And that would be really nice. That would be a pretty decent sized chunk of change. Since I'm trading with pretty big size, I have 357 Litecoin in this account and probably about 500 total that I own right now. I have some in GDAX and Bittrex as well. But I like trading on Bitfinex because I'm able to use leverage, and also I have the ability to short. So I have some USD sitting on Bitfinex, and it's definitely a good exchange if you want to trade with USD, because all these coins over here are offered in USD. I could trade OMG USD, I could trade Bitcoin Cash USD, Neo USD, and you can't do this on any other exchanges, at least that I'm aware of that is open to Americans. And this isn't open to Americans. I'm actually on a VPN right now, trading from Spain, so that's how I have access to this. And again, I don't know if I would recommend that, but I'm looking to be able to short plays as well as go long, and my preferred strategy is shorting, so I'm trying to get into a little more of that. But right now we are seeing some volume come in, and it did break out of this range that it was previously in for the last few days. And if we can get up to this area near $63, I'm expecting, well, right here it almost touched there, but I'm expecting it to have some trouble and then hopefully get up here to the 65 range, and that would be pretty good profits at least. So I'll keep an eye on this and keep everybody updated, and hopefully we're able to come out of this trade with some profits and get a big run going, maybe up to 75, 80, 85 bucks. That would be pretty nice. Just want to bring another quick update here on the Litecoin USD chart on Bitfinex. And it's actually starting to break out a little bit above this resistance line. Previously that was over here. So I am pretty happy about this. Wow, it just gapped up a little bit. But it really depends on where this day closes. There's a lot of volume pouring into this play right now, and I'm sitting pretty well. I'm at about 10% profit so far on this 357 Litecoin position. I do, in fact, own a little more than that on this account, probably about 750 or so Litecoin on this account. So the profits are probably closer to 5,000, and the run hasn't even started yet. I'm looking for a bigger move similar to this, at least 75. If I had to put a target on it, the top of this resistance here is at around 70. So I'm staying patient, and I'm just keeping calm. I'm not really worried about this play right now. Looking at the order book, there's a lot of big buys going through, and there's not a lot of sellers. Until we get to about 69.70, the order book's pretty clear. And if I pull up my chart over here, this is what I like using. I prefer to use this rather than the order book down here, just because I could see more, and I prefer Crypto Watch for this. There's about 22,000 Litecoin that need to be purchased until we break through 70, and that's acting as a key, gonna be a key resistance level, because right here on the chart there's right around $70, and then it looks like we're pretty clear to around 75, 80 bucks, and it's gonna be a very profitable trade if it does that. But I'm gonna be keeping a close eye on it and watching it over, because I don't want to give up any of these profits. I'd like to lock it in, and hopefully it breaks out and then maybe comes back down, test this area of support, so I know this is going to be the the temporary bottom and then has a huge run up. That would be ideal. Maybe I'll add a little more into my position, but I'm gonna keep a close eye on it. I'm not making any sort of sale right now, so I'll keep you guys updated. Hey guys, checking back in here on the Litecoin Trade. It's actually doing similar to what I projected. So right here it was forming the ascending triangle, and it ended up breaking out right here, came back down, tested this, what was resistance here, resistance here. It tested it on the way down as support, and it held, which indicates this was the new bottom. And then it had the huge run all the way up to near 100. So what I'm looking at here is a very similar type pattern, and I have my risk set at below this line, and I want to elaborate on this. I didn't set a hard stop loss on this, and I'm glad I didn't, because if I did, I would have set it right down here where this is if it broke this line, and it would have canceled me out of this position, and it would have closed me out, and I would have been flat, taken my profits and gotten out, because my entry's right here at this dotted line. So if I had that hard stop, I would have been out of this position here, and it rebounded. So I just use this as a mental stop, kind of, and I'm looking more as where these days close. Is it going to close above this line? Is it going to close below this line? If it closes below, that's when I cut my loss, and it's actually not even a loss. It's still a little profit. But that's where I'm playing my risk off of. I was playing it off down here, but now that we broke out past this line, past this resistance, this is now acting as support, just as it did over here. Breakout, come down, this is now the support, and then it has a huge run. So what I'm looking at here is breakout, come back down, test that support level, hold that support level, huge run. So that's what I'm looking at over the next few days. Maybe I don't get it, maybe it comes up to here, I'm fine with that, up to $80, $85. I would gladly take those. I have pretty big size on Litecoin right now. I'm definitely interested in getting some more profits. So I'm looking at the bigger picture here. I didn't get shaken out here on these wicks. I'm looking for the bigger move, which is something similar to this. Hopefully I get that. I guess we'll see in the coming days, because I'm going to keep recording this trade. Checking back in here with the Litecoin Trade. I've been in this trade now for a couple weeks, maybe a little over a week, and I'm still holding strong. I actually just added to my position on this dip down here, because I still like this chart. It's very bullish to me, so I'm just riding it out. Sitting at about 4,000 on paper, but might be a little bit more because that's only on 507 shares. I have 738 in this account. Probably about 1K total between all my wallets and other exchanges, maybe a little bit over 1K. But look, we're looking really good right now. And if I pull up the hourly chart, so one thing I want to stress here is these candles that were going so red on the day, and right here, this one, they were all the way down here going red, selling off, and they got bought up and still closed green. Very bullish indicator. Same thing here. It was getting sold off, and people were waiting to buy this dip. There's hungry buyers here, pushing the price up every time it dips. Same thing here. It dipped down here, touched the support, and it hasn't looked back since, been slowly climbing. So I'm going to be looking for to break or get up near this level again, near this level, and then we're off to the races, or at least 75. 75 is going to probably act as natural resistance, but I'm going to see how it gets when it gets up to 75. I want to see how the chart reacts, how sellers are. So if I was to actually get into trader mode, and I prefer Crypto Watch. It is a much faster chart. The order book is right here. I can see where all the buyers are. I can see where all the sellers are. There's about 40,000 sellers to get through 75. And there's not even 40,000 buyers on here. But it's pretty strong right now. It looks like slowly moving on up still. It really needs that just one big volume day to push it over. Maybe like over here. Something to really push it past the 70s, the 80s, and hopefully get up here to the mid 80s or 90s. That would be ideal, and then I might be starting to look to take profits because that's going to be a very big trade. So if we actually do end up breaking out, I might add a little bit more. Right past these levels here, these two wicks, right around 73.50. Maybe I'll look to add a little bit there, probably like 50 more shares or something. Nothing big. I already got quite a few of them, but I like adding into winners. That's how I get on the size here and really compound my gains, because my average is still pretty low. It's all the way down here, right at 63, and I've been adding. I added on this dip up here, so it's been moving my average up a little bit, but that doesn't really bother me too much because I got a pretty decent position in this before I had this big breakout. So I'm very comfortable adding into this position because I'm confident that it's going to keep moving up slowly but surely. Right now, Bitcoin's going on quite the bull run. It actually just broke 8K and it's been running. So Litecoin USD is kind of following, it looks like, in its footsteps. Really keeping a close eye here though on the volume. This is going to be the determining factor. Yesterday it was just touching this moving average right around 450k volume, and we just switched over to another day here. So we'll see how today reacts as we head into Sunday night, Monday, and start of a new week. So hopefully we get some volume and really get this thing moving. I want to give a quick update here on the Litecoin chart that I've been trading. There was a recent announcement last night that Tether got hacked, and that is essentially tracking the US dollar. It's a, I guess, cryptocurrency. It stays even with the US dollar, or within like 1 penny. They apparently got hacked, and it caused some fear in the markets, and as a result, Litecoin was dumping off. But notice right where it landed, right on this support line. Resistance here, resistance here. Once it broke through, it came back down and tested this level as support and got bought back up, and now it's almost green. This is a very bullish sign. But as a result of that, I did take some money off of Bitfinex because there's been a lot of rumors and allegations that they could be possibly going under, or Tether. They were reporting generating fake Tether and paying out with it. I'm not sure. They said on their Twitter here, let me pull it up. Bitfinex made a tweet saying that formal announcement is forthcoming. Ask for evidence before drawing conclusions. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, but I don't want to be involved in it big if they do go under. So I took a lot of the money off of Bitfinex, and I had, I think, 6 figures available on here to trade with, maybe 130,000, and now I only am working with 25,000. So I stored away some of that Litecoin into a hardware wallet, and I'm ready to go on vacation. I'm actually leaving for vacation tonight, and it's hard for me to let go of Litecoin. So I just put it in a wallet, and I don't want to touch it because this is still very bullish chart, and I don't want to miss out on a move. If I'm going on vacation, I'm still going to be able to use a laptop and monitor this position, but I don't want to be really actively thinking about it. So I kind of just stored it away and see what happens, but I will react accordingly if something starts to go south, and I'll take my profits. But as of right now, I'm still buying more, and I just put an order through for another 50. It says partially filled, but I'm not sure. Another 50. We'll see what I get, and as long as it keeps going up, I'll keep adding to this position. I like to add to my winners. That's how you get huge wins. I don't like adding to losers, unless I'm still within my risk level, which was right in here before, when I added my initial entry up here and my second entries down here, second and third entry. So I average down, that's fine. But if it kept breaking down, I wouldn't keep averaging down. I'd sell it for the loss and move on. In this case, I was right. It's been going up. It's held this now newfound support line 3 times. I'm looking for a big move, and maybe it'll do something like this. I'm gonna be watching it, and we'll see what happens over the next few days when I'm on vacation. But this is a very bullish sign to me. As long as this candle closes up here, the buyers were waiting for that dip, and they jumped in. This Tether announcement, I don't know how it's going to affect the markets. I think it was just kind of a shakeout. A lot of the coins went red like this, and they've already been bought back up. So we'll see what happens. I'm mostly concerned about Bitfinex and what they're going to do, because they're kind of my favorite exchange right now to trade on with USD, direct USD pairs. They give quite a few different coins on here, at least the large caps, and that's fine. They've been hot right now, so I like to trade those. And I could still go in with pretty large size and come out on top with significant returns. I want to give you guys an update here on Litecoin. Let you know my thoughts on this trade, because I've been away for quite some time. I took a vacation. It was Thanksgiving here. I was out of town, so I wasn't able to do any live updates for Litecoin. But the chart has played out actually very well in my favor. And I took the vacation on the 21st. I was gone right here on this day, this red day. And my intention was, I consolidate a lot of my portfolio. I had some Ethereum, some Dash, some Bitcoin. Actually, I think I kept a lot of the Bitcoin out, but I had quite a few positions I consolidated, and that's just because I didn't want to have to manage a bunch of large positions. I would rather just focus on one. In Litecoin, the chart looked very good. It was already starting to play out in my favor. So I decided to kind of stick with this one and add a little bit more onto this position. So right here on this day, it had this breakout past this level of $66, and it was having some issues getting above this area right here. And this was the 73.50 area, roughly, and it was kind of consolidating between these two levels for a few days. It actually kind of scared me a little bit, because it came back down and tested this line. It didn't break, but I was playing off this line as my risk. So if it did crack below this line, I would have ended up cutting it, selling it, and taking my profits. But it held. And this was a very good sign, because the next day it went up and it started to break out. So I actually have been adding to my position since I've gotten back. And that's because it's been playing out in my favor. And now it's actually setting all-time highs, which is crazy, because I figured it would have some trouble around this level. There was a little bit of resistance right here, but it kind of just completely ignored that. It looked like it actually came back down and tested this area again, and it's continued up. But I've been adding to my position the entire time. So my original entries were down in here. I got pretty good size, I think 500-600 shares. It started to play out in my favor. I was adding more into my position as it started playing out, increasing my size because I started to become right in the trade. And as I'm becoming right, my risk is becoming less and less and less, because my original risk level was playing off this bottom trend line. As it started to play out in my favor, I moved my risk up to this white line. So either way, I was going to profit. Then it broke out past this second area, the 73.50. So now my risk was that 73.50 area. And it broke out past this area. This wasn't even really any resistance. It looks like it just blew right past it. Came back down, tested that $80 area, and it's been moving back up. So now my risk I've been playing off is this $90 area. Right around $90, maybe a little higher. And that's because, first of all, over here it had issues getting above this 90 area and closing. It was not able to close above 90. It went back down. Right here, it tested on this green day. This red day, it couldn't get over 90. And then finally it broke past 90. And when it did, it came back down and tested this same $90 area before moving back up. So I've actually been even adding more to my position. And a lot of people think this is stupid or risky, but I have no issues adding size to where I'm right in the trade. Right now I have about just over 1,000 Litecoin. I'm actually trading some on with some leverage. I probably have close to 2,000 Litecoin total between all my accounts, and it's doing exactly what I predicted from down here. You know, I didn't necessarily think it would go and make all-time highs. I thought maybe I'd get at least to the 80s, to this area right here. That's what I was hoping for, maybe test the all-time highs, but it's broken past there. So the next level I'm looking for is this $100 area right up here. This is going to be huge resistance. This is a huge psychological level. $100, big whole round number. It's moving to triple digits. That's big. That's huge. And if it does break that resistance level, then I think it could really run. And maybe it'll run to 130, 150 before slowing down and coming back down. And if I have 1,000, 2,000, maybe even get up to 3,000 Litecoin, because I'll continue to add more. If it breaks $100, I'll gladly add more, because there's no more resistance after $100. 130, 150 is a pretty nice target to have, and I think it's definitely possible in the next week, 2 weeks. So I'm going to keep on holding it as long as the chart is playing out as predicted. I'm not going to short sell myself in my position by taking profits on a strong upward move that doesn't show any signs of slowing down. When it does start to do this parabolic type move, maybe we have one huge move that's really parabolic, a 20%, 30%, 40% move in a single day, then I'm going to be looking to sell, because that type of growth, this straight up type of growth, is not sustainable. This, it's moved up slowly, consolidated, moved up, a little bit of consolidation, moving up again. So when we have that huge volume day, maybe something similar like it was over here, that big volume day, a little bit higher than where it's at now, that's when I'm going to be looking to sell. I want to sell into strength. I don't want to wait until it starts to drop and then sell. I'd like to catch it on right when it starts shifting over to red, because that'll give me the best profit. And I actually caught this sell before when I was trading this right at $90, right when it shifted to red here, actually on this wick, because it had this parabolic type growth. It went from $50 to $90 in under 2 weeks. Here it's going from mid-60s to $100, but it's been having this slow uptrend for a while. So I'm looking for the bigger picture. I want a big move out of this. Will I get that? Who knows? But the only way to find out is to let it run, and don't just take profits because it's up a certain amount, because it could still keep going. I'd rather let it ride and play off this 90 area. If it happens to break $100, I'll move my risk up to that $100 level. That means if a candle closes below $100, I would sell. I would get out of it. I'd take my profits, and it's going to be a huge trade. I'd say probably close to $20 to $30,000, $40,000 trade, depending on how high it gets. If it gets to the 150 range, this could be a $50,000 trade for me, depending on the size I actually get. But I'm able to add more. I'm wanting to add more. I'm just doing it in a smart manner. I don't want to be adding right now. It's kind of mid-range between that 90 area, that 100 area. If it came back down to 90, maybe it does something like this and then goes back up. As long as it holds that 90, I would gladly add to my position. No hesitations. Because that's going to act as a key support level now that it broke over it. If it breaks 100, same thing. Say it breaks 100, goes up to 130, comes back down to 100. Well, as long as that 100's holding, I'm I'm going to at least hold a portion of it. Maybe I don't hold all of it, but I'm looking for the bigger picture here, and I don't want to get out of this position early if it's still in an uptrend, it's still bullish. Another indicator and something I like to take into consideration is the Litecoin Bitcoin chart. Now if I pull this up here quick on Bittrex, this chart had huge growth, came back down, it's been very up and down, but now it broke past this level right around here, and it came down. Now it's testing that level again. And this chart has a lot of room to go. It can get up to these levels again, no doubt. I have no doubt in my mind that it could get to these levels again. That gives us plenty of room for growth. Bitcoin just crossed $10,000. Here it is. Just over $10,000 Bitcoin is. Litecoin is not even worth 1/10 of the value. It's not even worth 10%. So there is plenty of room for this to run. This can really run big. And I want to be there and capture this with very large size, because this is what's going to grow my portfolio. Not taking these small winners. I take small winners all the time, but when I see this big this play forming, this 5-star setup, this grade A setup, I want to hammer it with huge size so I can get a big win out of it, and that's going to put my portfolio so far ahead. I don't mind taking small wins. I really don't. And big wins, they don't really come often. So when they do, you really got to hammer on the size, because that's how you make life-changing amounts of money. Hey guys, just checking in here with this Litecoin trade. This is looking very good right now. And yesterday, or the day before, there was this huge dump off, it looks like it was a shakeout. And it dumped from $102 all the way down to the low 70s. And I was actually able to scoop some more up at, I think, $78. $78 yesterday, or the day before. And this was a good ad, because I was still very confident in this play. And I felt like this was just a shakeout. A lot of the exchanges went down, and it caused some fear in the markets. So I knew it wasn't really justified. And this upward trend has just started. That kind of reset it. So now it looks like we're clear and ready for takeoff here. It was a little bit scary because I am trading on margin right now. I got about 1,500 coins on margin. So seeing it drop like that and just having to remain calm, because originally I was playing off this $90 risk, but this happened in the middle of the night for me. It started crashing, and I woke up and I noticed it wasn't just Litecoin, it was everything. And there was a lot of issues going on with exchanges, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait it out and see what happens the next day. And this next day, I was prepared to sell on a bounce, but it closed green. And since it closed green, it gave me the confidence to go on for another day. If it would have closed red, well, maybe it would have done something similar to this. But this sell-off was kind of unjustified, I guess. It went from $100 all the way down to the low 70s in one day. That's a 30% drop. And I knew it would probably bounce back, and that's exactly what it did. So I added to my position. I have 1,500 on margin. I have probably almost 2,500 total Litecoin. And this is going to be a profitable play, because I do believe this is still very early. And this is the hourly chart here, and it's just been chugging along, green, 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 all the way up to 100. It's finally hitting that 100 resistance. So I am watching it carefully, but I do believe if we're able to close up here somewhere, at least above 94, that's going to give us a good opportunity for continuation. And a lot of people would see right here, well, it's right at this 100 resistance again, why don't you sell? Well, I'm focusing here on the daily chart. And if this chart closes up here above this level, 94, above these two levels at 94, there's a very good shot this is early and it could keep going. And I don't want to short sell myself too early. I really do believe this coin has the potential to run. So I have the chart up here, and I prefer to trade like this. I prefer having the Crypto Watch chart. It's a lot better, and it's a lot easier to read. It never goes down. I like seeing the order book right here. I could see where the big orders are. I could see where it's stacked. I also like keeping GDAX up. This is this tab right here because GDAX is actually the largest volume Litecoin exchange. Right now I'm on Bitfinex, but GDAX is usually a little bit priced higher than Bitfinex. So if I could see GDAX coming down, well then Bitfinex is probably going to come down as well. GDAX just was actually over 100, so I was anticipating this to break 100, but there's a big seller there with about 10,000 Litecoin he's trying to get rid of. So I'm going to keep watching this and keep you guys updated on this trade. Right now it's probably sitting at about 25,000, 30,000 profit. But I still think this is fairly early. And I do believe it could be more. But if it does start to pull back again and show me signs of weakness, then I'll gladly exit this trade and move on. But I'm looking at the bigger picture here. And a similar type move happened a while ago, earlier this year in Ethereum. And I played Ethereum from $33 up into $100, and I sold it because it was having a lot of trouble breaking that $100 area. It consolidated for a few weeks, and then it broke through, probably about a week and a half later. So I really short sold myself on that trade because it ran from $100 to $400 within the next month and a half. And I got out for a triple at from $30 to $100. I can't complain about it, but I'm thinking maybe not to the degree, but something similar could happen with Litecoin. If it does break 100, I think it'll really start moving fast. Maybe to 130, 150, and then I'd be looking to lock in profits before it started to slow down. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'll keep you guys updated when I exit this trade. Hopefully we can get some big profits on here. So right now it's starting to come down, and I'm going to go ahead and get out of this position. At least my margin. Just completely get out of it. The market's coming down hard and fast right now. Alright, it looked like it took profits. 94 bucks. Alright. So I just went ahead and exited my LTC USD position on margin. Now, I still do own 958 Litecoin, but I just closed the margin position. And that's because I didn't want to risk another drop like this. I was here watching it when it was happening. I noticed the Bitcoin price start to go down. It started to go down on GDAX as well. So that's a good time to get out. But I still own 958 Litecoin on this account, probably close to 1,500 total. And I'm going to see how it plays out because I don't think it's necessarily bad right now. This could be just intraday shakeout. And that kind of looks like what it looks like, but I'm just going to protect myself and lock in that margin. And I actually might take a jump back in here, but it really depends on how the chart starts to play because as of right now, Bitcoin just went down pretty hard from almost 12,000 to 10,850 in a very short amount of time. So a little bit uneasy, and I think Bitcoin is overextended. Litecoin, I do have a lot of faith in, and we'll see where it actually bottoms out and closes on the day. But as of right now, I'm going to sit out of this position, at least with them 1,600 margin shares, because that is a lot, and I don't want to take that kind of risk on right now. So yesterday, I ended up selling a large chunk, about 1,600 Litecoin, and I sold them when it was dipping, during this kind of pullback. And I was a little bit hesitant to hold on to it simply because it just had this giant red day and it's following Bitcoin's chart really closely. So I was watching Bitcoin, and I saw Bitcoin start to really come down, and I know Bitcoin's kind of overextended right now, so seeing that come down and then seeing Litecoin just start tanking, it made me a little bit nervous, and I wanted to lock in profits instead of riding this whole wave again. So I did. I locked in profits on 1600. I was still holding that original 954 investment, and I made about $7,200. It's not great. I'm a little bit upset the trade didn't play out as I wanted. So here's looking back on that trade. I'm looking at my analysis and what I could have done better. And here's where I'm looking. Let's take it back to right here. When it made this previous all-time high, right around 93, what was this, 93 something, 93.70, something around there. Now, look at yesterday, where this low a day was. It hit this resistance here, now is acting as support. So after it rejected that area, it actually tested it 2 different times on the hourly. Let's go to the hourly real quick. It tested this area 1, 2, 3 different times. And I actually sold it somewhere in here. I think it was like 96. It wasn't the best trade, but you know, what are you gonna do? So what I did was, instead of being upset that I kind of got dumped on here when I wasn't really paying attention, is I decided to take another position, and I got back in. Even though, well, I'm already in, I already had 954, but I decided to add more, so I bought 1,000 of them back. And my average entry is right here at 99.93. It's not the best entry, but I'm able to play off this bottom risk area. Or I could play right here off this support line. Either way, I'm keeping my risk limited, and I don't think Litecoin's done. Reason being is, yesterday we just had the day switch over on the candles. It was the first day it closed over $100. That hasn't happened ever in Litecoin history. It closed up here at almost 104. It looks like 103.50. That's good. That's a good sign. It's bullish, and I don't think Litecoin's done. I think it's actually just getting started. So I decided to jump back in, take a position, and as we keep moving up, I'm going to look to keep adding. So I wanted to give you guys an update on this trade. It's grown my account significantly. This account has started with about $73,000 in November, and I've crossed $105,000. So I'm up about $25,000 within the last month, just by trading Litecoin. I hit Neo on here, and I got a little profit on Aetherium as well. The only one I didn't profit on, which I'm kind of upset about, is Dash. I actually had 60 Dash at 489, and I sold them all the day before I went on vacation, right around Thanksgiving time. So it was a couple weeks ago now. And I sold them all and bought into Litecoin because I didn't want to have to manage a bunch of positions while I was on vacation. So knowing I was going on vacation and that I wasn't going to be as actively monitoring my positions, I wasn't going to be able to really trade all the time because I was going to be driving around and stuff, I decided to consolidate my portfolio and only be in Litecoin because it's what I was in the biggest already. So I just said, okay, I'm just going to go in Litecoin and be done with it. And Litecoin, it is still trekking along. It's doing it rather slowly. When I did get in this position, it was actually down in, when I went on vacation, it was somewhere in here. So it has gone up significantly since I was on vacation. I'm not mad at all, really, that I missed out on Dash, because the profits have been here as well. All these coins have been moving up in terms of USD. So I'm going to stay in Litecoin as long as it keeps trekking along. These huge wicks it's very volatile, and this can scare people, and especially when you got large amounts of money on the line. It like this day right here, it went up to $103 and then it tanked down to 71. That's crazy. I was able to get more because I thought it was just a pullback because the exchanges were all having some issues. They were going down, having some outages. So I actually picked some more up and then wrote it up here and sold it in the high 90s. But I'm back in Litecoin with 1,000 extra shares. I'm probably close to 2,000 total in this account, 1,954. So I'm hoping, not sure if it'll play out like this, but I'm hoping it'll hit 130s area, 130 to 150. This will be a very big trade for me, and that's what I'm going for here. I'm very confident in this play, but we need that one big volume push. We need that one day like down in here, where it just has one huge volume push and really goes up like this huge candle, and then I'll probably get out and take my profits, because usually when you see these big days happen, then the crash is right around the corner, as it was here. And I don't like holding when it does this. It's kind of foolish to me that people just have the investor mentality, because it doesn't necessarily have to recover after doing this. Fortunately, it has, and it's gone even higher, but I like actively trading, locking in profits on the way up, getting back in while it's low, and I'm looking to lock in profits on any big volume push. Hey guys, so I'm back here with this Litecoin chart, and it is moving fast right now. I have about, I'd say, just over 2,000 Litecoin, and it is climbing at an incredibly fast rate. It just set all-time highs. And a lot of people were doubting this. Over the past 3 days, it was starting to have this pullback, but it was riding right near that previous all-time high level, and there's a strong support. And it held, and now it's moving. Now it's at 108. This is on Bitfinex, on GDAX. I'll pull up the price here so you guys can see it as well, but it's much higher on GDAX. It's probably at least 115, 117 right now on GDAX. Crazy. So you can see the price right here. I'm trading it on Bitfinex. Bitfinex generally lags behind a little bit on Litecoin, but I do believe it'll catch up. I'm not adding more. I'm not buying into this hype, but there is strong volume coming in. It's almost equal to yesterday's volume, and this day still has 9 hours to go. This is the daily chart, and it's the USD chart. I'll throw up the hourly just to get a little more action. Yeah, it is just going straight up, and this is good. This is what I was anticipating for so long. It just took some time. It had to consolidate at these levels for a while. It dumped as low as $70. I was able to get some more in the 70s or low 80s, but I'm letting it run. And I got 1,500 on margin. I got 955 in this account, and I have some more in the wallets and offline as well. So this is what I've been waiting for. I think this could really run big because Bitcoin just ran to nearly $20,000 yesterday, and Litecoin wasn't doing much. 119 on GDAX, 109 on Bitfinex. I hope some of you guys watching this were able to catch this move. I have been posting it several times over the past couple months. The entire month of November was a huge win. I've posted it several times. This has been my main position, and this is why I've been waiting for this move to happen. And it's hard to be patient, but patience is what pays off in this game. And even though I did lock in profits in the 90s, I was able to jump back in and take advantage of some of this move. Hopefully it'll run 130s, 150. I think it's definitely possible, but volume is hot right now. It's also crazy. When I started this account, when I started recording these live trades, my account was at about 70,000. So just in the past month, I've made, on this account alone, it's probably been about $30,000 to $40,000 in profit overall, and that's just doing some trading here and there, mainly Litecoin, but IOTA was a win, NEO was a win, Bitcoin Cash was a win, Aetherium was a win, all on this account. I really like this platform on Bitfinex, even though there is some drama going around with them. I like it because I'm able to trade in USD. I'm able to trade a fair list of these coins, and I'm also able to short and use some leverage. So it has the best of all the worlds. There's just the things I don't like about Bitfinex. They're very weird about their fees. They're not very transparent unless you really dig through your account reports. But you're never going to get that perfect exchange, so you got to compromise one way or another. There's a ton of strong buyers, over 20,000 buyers from 100 now. My entry's below 100, my re-entry on the margin position. It's about $98 right now. I got 1,500 Litecoin. And the reason I don't like showing this chart is because it's laggy. It's really, really laggy. I prefer to use Crypto Watch because this is very fast. It shows me the order book. I could see exactly where everything is, where people's orders are, right side by side with where I need to plug in my orders. So I'm hoping to ride this hype, and I hope this is just the beginning of an epic run. I mean, it'd be nice for it to go to $200 or so. I'm going to keep holding on to it. I may look to take in profits at 130, 150, depending on how parabolic straight up that chart gets. But I really think it has room. And that's because Bitcoin has been leading the pack, and it's gone parabolic for the past 2 weeks. And Litecoin's really kind of just been consolidating for the past 3 days. $114. So it looks like it's caught up to GDAX. And notice how in the beginning, this was about $10 behind the price of GDAX. And now it's only within $2. So that's why I like focusing on what GDAX is doing, because GDAX generally leads the way. The reason I don't trade on GDAX is because they don't allow margin trading anymore. They used to, but they got rid of it. And they only have the big three coins: Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. Bitfinex is a much wider selection, and Bitfinex, I believe, has more volume because of the margin trading. A lot of people are able to trade with leverage, 3 times the amount of money on their account. Now I'm going to be looking to add a little bit to my position on any pullbacks that I see. So right now there's this huge green candle, a lot of hype coming into it. This is not the time to add to your position. I'm going to look to add on some sort of pullback. And this hour is only halfway done, and the volume is testing these highs on the other candles. Going to be well over 100k volume on this. GDAX is now pushing 120, and we're lagging a little bit behind on here. I think a lot of people are taking their newly found Bitcoin profits and putting them into Litecoin because they see it as the cheaper alternative. This is what I've been waiting for, and this is what I've been kind of predicting. What was going to happen is this entire new wave of money has been flowing in to crypto, to Bitcoin, ever since about Thanksgiving, so the end of November. And I think it's because a lot of people were kind of congregating with their family and getting together with their family and friends, and people that have been involved into crypto have been sharing some of the profits they've made, or sharing how the technology is going to change the entire world. And you get all these people telling their friends and family, and say they get 1 or 2 people to buy into Bitcoin, to make a Coinbase account and sign up. Okay, well, it kind of is a domino effect. We see more and more people coming into these markets. We're getting a whole new wave of people on this run. And this is just one really bullish run. We've had the run from 1,000 to 3,000 before hitting resistance. That grabbed a whole bunch of people earlier this year. And then we kind of had that pullback for a little bit, a little consolidation phase. Then it went from 3,000 to 5,000. We got a whole new wave of people coming in. It was getting so much media attention at this time. Now it's gone from under 5,000 all the way up to 20,000, and we're just getting a massive influx of people. And as a result of this, the exchanges have not been able to keep up. A lot of these exchanges and crypto trading tools have been having a ton of issues lately. TradingView is one of them, which is where I do charting. Coinbase has been down frequently. Kraken has been down. Bitfinex has been down. A lot of these trading platforms are not able to scale accordingly. Bittrex, the long-time altcoin exchange I've been using, never had any problems with them. I've been using them since early 2017, and now all of a sudden, their website has just completely gone terrible. It's laggy, the charts don't update, the orders have a very large spread, meaning that the price here, the buy and the sell are very far apart. It's slow. The wallets don't work all the time. That's because the massive influx of people, and they can't hire people fast enough. That's how fast we're growing. So to see a chart that recently broke all-time highs, it was consolidating around those all-time highs, those previous all-time highs. I'm talking about Litecoin here. And we just saw Bitcoin do a massive run from 10 to 20K in a week. To see Litecoin not have some sort of positive impact from that Bitcoin run would be crazy. So this is why I've been saying, okay guys, maybe you should direct your attention to Litecoin. And I've been saying this the entire month of November when I took the position. I've been telling everybody, Litecoin is going to be the sleeper pick. Because it doesn't have as much attention on it right now. But it will. Because it offers a solution to Bitcoin's number one problem. And Bitcoin's number one problem is the scaling issues it's having with the transaction times. Sometimes it's taking days to send Bitcoin from one wallet to another. Another issue is the transaction fees. If I was to send $5,000 in Bitcoin, it's going to cost me $10, $20. That's ridiculous. So, knowing that, I understand Bitcoin is not what we're going to be globally using as a payment consumer to business relationship. I don't think. Unless Bitcoin fixes that issue somehow. I don't necessarily think it has to, though, because there's other coins that are available. And I'm not just trying to promote Litecoin here, but I think Litecoin could be that solution. Litecoin is a top 5 coin, maybe top 6 now, maybe it got bumped down one, but it's a top coin, and it's proven itself that it's here to stay. It's been here for several years. The developer is active, and they're going to scale accordingly. I could assure that. The guy behind it, Cobley on Twitter, he is very passionate about Litecoin and cryptocurrency in general. And you could tell just by the way he talks and presents himself. So that's another reason I have a lot of faith in him to bring Litecoin to that next level. Another thing is Litecoin has been talking about running really aggressive marketing campaigns come 2018. So this could be a sleeper year. Litecoin could be that sleeper pick. I don't know if you call it the sleeper pick, but Litecoin is a legit contender for 2018 to have an excellent year, one of the best years. Now, I'm sure it won't have the highest percentage growth because it's already over $100, but it has potential. I don't see $500, $1,000 Litecoin being so far-fetched. Especially because earlier this year, it was under $4. So it has had insane growth. It's just been a slow, steady mover throughout the entire year. I'm really curious to see where this candle actually ends up closing. because this volume is insane. Still have 15 minutes left in this candle. I'm going to pull up the daily chart again and see how we're looking on volume. So we're already surpassed the last 3 red days today, and it's 10:45 in the morning. The day switches over at 7 p.m. So I could already tell this volume day is going to be probably higher than almost every single day except for this one right here, where we had 2.5 million Litecoin exchanged. That was on this huge sell-off, and it got bought back up. So this is a good sign. About 460,000 Litecoin that's been exchanged on Bitfinex today. But I'm curious, where does this hour close? Where are we headed? I'm very confident that we're headed up, but it's a matter of when do we get that pullback? When are we going to get some sort of consolidation so I could maybe add some to my position? I'm probably not going to add much here. Maybe 500 shares total I'll add at these levels, but I'm really trying to milk the benefits here of getting that low position average. Even Crypto Watch is starting to lag a little bit. I'm really hoping these platforms could kind of scale their servers, their database, I don't know, whatever they need to do. But trading like this and seeing a delay or any sort of lag is like, it's like playing a video game and your internet connection's bad and you're lagging and nobody else is. It's very annoying and hard to play. So I'm curious, is it gonna retest these levels down here, or is it just gonna go? Now these levels down here are about this 103, 104, 105 area. So I'm curious, is it gonna come down and retest this area before making a move up? Maybe that's where I look to add to a position. But Litecoin's already up nearly 30% on the day. Crazy for Litecoin. And it really comes down to patience, because this position hasn't always been a winner. Just yesterday, I was down nearly 20,000 on my margin position. But the chart still looked good. I wasn't selling. And as long as the chart looks good, the overall chart, the daily chart, then there's no reason to sell. And it was holding at key levels. I was actually trying to average down my position. I added 250 shares of Litecoin down in the low 90s. It got as low as 84 though. I added down here in the low 90s just to bring my average down. My average is below 100. It's about $98. But I was confident in the trade because of the way the daily was looking. I figured this dump off was similar to this dump off. And this happened when Bitcoin was running big. It started to tank. And then it rebounded a little bit, consolidated. It started to dump off again, but it got bought back up. And the daily candles looked fine. It was consolidating in this support and resistance area. There is a crazy amount of volume that's come in, and this is why I stress the importance of volume. A lot of people underestimate it, but when we see this type of volume come in, that is when we get these epic moves. This move was from $100 to $116.65. That's a $16 move in 1 hour, and it's because of volume. The volume is much higher than any other candle here. Have about 9 minutes left, so I want to see where this candle closes. It's coming down a bit now, but there's a strong buyer support. There's over 20,000 Litecoin from here to $100. I'd be really shocked if it sold all the way off. I think this is just the beginning. I'm going to stick it out here for this final 8 minutes. I'm going to go eat some breakfast because I just rolled out of bed and I saw Litecoin moving. I'm like, I gotta capture this because this is what I've been saying for the past month. I've been waiting for this move. The whole November month, it was good. It went from $50 to $100. It nearly had a 50% increase in a month. So November was great, but I think that was just the beginning to something bigger. And it's coming down a bit on Bitfinex. On GDAX, it's still at 116 up here. This candle's about to close, but there has been epic volume. All right, coming down here to 110, about 115 still on GDAX. Oh wow, 113. So much volatility. It just jumped $3 on the bid. Those dark green prints are just people sitting here smashing market buy. So they'll just buy at whatever price. They don't care. They just want in. Hopefully we're able to close though over this 110 area. There's a lot of green today. A lot of these altcoins are starting to rebound, which is good. Yesterday was a huge panic day. Everything was red across the board. Everything was dumping off. And that's the last time you want to sell. Even if you want to get out of that position, wait for the bounce. Wait for that green day. Because when we have those huge dump-offs, it's shaking everyone out of their position. Now, you still got to manage your risk. You still got to take that into consideration. But I don't like to sell into weakness. And I do occasionally. I'm not a perfect trader, but that's not the goal. The goal is to sell into strength. Do we see some people taking profits here? I'm still holding on because I believe the bigger move is yet to come. This is just the beginning. This is the first green day, that bullish engulfing candle to something bigger. Granted, it does depend where this candle closes, but that's what I'm looking at. Bitcoin is having a pullback. Bitcoin's having a pullback. The altcoins are moving up, trying to catch up. So final minute here. There's about 20 seconds left. The clock is right here. GDAX is back up to 117, and we're frozen. There we go. So we're about $5 off from the GDAX price. And there we go. We closed at 112. That's fine. So I'm going to keep an eye on this chart. I'm going to go grab some breakfast, and I'll come back and start recording again pretty soon. Alright, I'm back, and Litecoin is still moving. We just broke $120. On GDAX, it's over 125 already. This is crazy. This is the epic move I've been waiting for. I'm really excited to see this. I just got done eating some cinnamon rolls, and that was my victory breakfast of choice because this is turning out to be a huge trade. I'll show you my account here real quick. There's about a $31,500 profit just on this 1,500 shares. Again, I do own 955 in this account on top of this 1,500, as well as some Litecoin in other wallets that I keep offline. So I have well over 2,000 Litecoin, or well over 4,000, somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 Litecoin total, including what I have on this account, and it is moving fast. This has been a very profitable trade. Probably depending on where I sell at, it's probably my most profitable trade ever. And I'm stoked to see this. But I'm still holding out for that bigger move, and I'm being patient. It can be difficult to do, but I want to see where this candle's going to close. Where the daily candle's going to close. Litecoin now up 36% on the day. It is definitely Litecoin's day. It has taken the spotlight, and people are all tuning into Litecoin. And the best part about it is, you guys heard it first. As soon as I took this trade, I let everybody else know that I was taking this trade. I let everybody else know my analysis on it, my thoughts on this, all the way back in November when I initially took this trade. And that's not the first time I've been in Litecoin. I have traded Litecoin several times this whole year. I've been in and out of this trade, and it's been a very profitable trade for me. Now it does look like somebody's trying to sell it down here. 115 prints, then it jumps back up to 118. Very, very low orders here. The bid and the ask is starting to look pretty thin though. It's only 15,000 to 125. There's only 7,000, 8,000 separating us from that 112, 110 level. And it looks like this volume candle is actually going to be higher than the previous one. And I thought that previous one was huge. About 173,000 Litecoin was exchanged, and we're already 3/4 of the way there, and it hasn't even been. We still have 45 minutes left, 40 minutes left in this candle. So there is a lot of hype coming in this. There is a lot of volume coming into this, but this is not the time I would tell people to buy. The time to buy was the entire last month, when I was constantly preaching about this chart. But now people are just starting to take notice. Well, this is not the time to buy. Looks like GDAX did come down below that 125 mark, or it's teetering right on there. And we're about $7 off on this exchange. And we're at one point within $2, but now it's kind of gapped away from that. It looks like most of the altcoins are in green today. I was just checking on my Blockfolio. I watch a ton of different coins. Even though I'm not in positions, I just like to see mobily what's going on in the market. So it's nice on Blockfolio. You're able to just set coins on your watch list. Same thing with Tab Trader. Those are two great apps I highly recommend you use. I just type in the coin, type in the exchange, and watch it. Put it on my watch list. I don't need to take a position, but I'm going to watch it because then I'm able to kind of gauge, okay, if I was to take a position, I want it to be around this level and this level, somewhere between these two levels. So you could set an alert once it gets between those two levels, and then I won't have to babysit the chart all day. I like to use that form of price boxing. I talked about it earlier in the course, but price boxing is setting alerts on both sides of the spectrum. So say I wanted to price box Litecoin. I would say, okay, if it gets above 121.33, this all-time high, I want you to alert me. If it gets below 110, I want you to alert me. So I could put one here, and I could put one here. So this is only for on the screen, so I'll get a ring through my headphones, but you could do this with the mobile apps. And then they'll ring your phone when the price reaches a certain time, whatever price you choose. So then you're able to get on, check the chart, jump on the computer, log in on your phone to the mobile exchange. But at least it gives you some sort of alert or notification that, okay, here's the price, it's at the level that you want it at. You got to react to that information. It's a lot better though when you're active throughout the day and you're not able to babysit the charts all day. I mostly am watching the charts. I try and have as much screen time as possible because I enjoy this. I like watching the charts. I like seeing the price action. The more screen time you get, the more you surround yourself with the charts, cryptocurrency trading, the more benefits you'll get and receive. The more you'll learn, the more you'll soak in, the faster you'll learn, the more you'll be ahead of the next guy that's just passively doing it. Again, you want to get ahead of the majority. You want to be ahead of others in this game. Because we only have one shot at cryptocurrency, especially at this level. Maybe a year from now, Litecoin will be 1,000, and you wish you would have taken advantage of this. So it's no time to sleep. It's no time to be lazy. It's no time to really brush off and put off for later, because the time to do this and get involved and get learning is now. So you could take advantage of these moves. Even if you've just gotten in recently, you're still ahead of the masses. Maybe not Bitcoin. Bitcoin's kind of been going crazy. It's hard for me to even fathom that it's $15,000 right now, because just a few months ago I was trading it and it was $2,000, $3,000. And here we go. Here's my alert. It just broke that all-time high on this exchange. So see how it kind of notified me there? Gives me a little ring. It really enhances the browser, brings it out, and tells me that, okay, time to pay attention over here again. Now we're at 122. We're catching up to GDAX, and I love when it does this. GDAX is moving to 127 area. Well, Bitfinex is moving to 122. And there's only 21,000 Litecoin separating us from that 128 mark, which is a drop in the ocean compared to the amount of volume that's been flowing in. Someone just bought 194 at 122.4. And we're moving back up. 123 prints. Over 123. If you're able to get to that point where you are understanding of when to spot these patterns prior to them happening, which is what I did with Litecoin. I caught the very beginning of this uptrend. The very beginning. I was in on day one of this current uptrend. If you're able to spot and predict these are the profits you can get. On 1,500 shares, I'm up $35,000. That's above a minimum wage salary on one trade. And that's only on half my position. So this is possibly a $75,000 trade, which is a middle income, what is it? A middle tier income. Middle class income. There we go. That's the word. $75,000 on a trade. This has happened over the last month. So it's really crazy to imagine, because not too long ago I was in that position of working full time in the hot Florida sun every single day outside, running around, sweating, dripping in sweat, wishing and dreaming of days like this, where I'm able to sit here and make somebody's salary in a day on a trade. And I could have done this from anywhere. I like to be at home. I like to be in my office. I like to be on my setup in the hot seat, as I call it. But you could do this from anywhere. This move would have happened regardless of me watching the chart or not, but watching the charts, it's fascinating to me. People are actually buying this up right now, and they were ignoring it for the past months, when the time to buy was actually the time to buy. Now we're pressing 130 on GDAX, which was my target. So if this can get into the 130s, I'm going to probably start taking some off. Just because it's the smart thing to do. I probably won't take it all off, but I'm going to probably take some profits off and lock that in. It's testing 130 here, 132. Wow, huge gap up on GDAX. 133. Crazy. And we're now $10 behind on Bitfinex. It'd be crazy though if it ran all the way to 200 bucks. This is insane. $139 now on GDAX. It has gone parabolic. And now I'm definitely going to be looking to lock in profits as it's going parabolic. It just broke the 140 area on GDAX. So maybe it'll get up there on Bitfinex as well. And it's also crazy to me that I was just in the $70,000. I put just under $75,000 in this account when I started doing these live trades and recording it. And now I'm up to $120,000 in this account. So growing that account in a month, that is just a small taste of the potential here. And now there is still about 23 minutes left in this candle, and we're equal to the last one in volume. I really wish it was the same price as GDAX over here, but it appears to be coming down a bit on GDAX. Bitcoin's actually coming down too to low 15,000s. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the daily chart, check it out. So it is run today from $88 low up to 127 here on Bitfinex, which generally does lag behind GDAX a bit, but it has come down quite a bit on GDAX now. I'd like to see if we can get one more big push, break that 130 mark, and then I probably take some off. GDAX now back up to that 135 area, about $10 cheaper on Bitfinex. And a lot of people talk to me about arbitrage, and they try and say, they ask me, okay, what is arbitrage? So let's get into a little bit of that. Arbitrage is buying on one exchange, sending it to another, and selling it on the other exchange for profit. So you think, okay, why not just buy it on Bitfinex here for 125, send it over to GDAX, which is nearly an instant transaction, very fast transaction, and sell it? Well, one reason you can't do that is because GDAX has a 10K limit on deposits. So I could only deposit $10,000 into GDAX every day. So that's only a small portion of my position. That's only not even 100 Litecoin. There have been instances, and I've heard from quite a few people that are on the Korean exchanges and over in Asia on the exchanges over there. The prices are much generally higher. Bitcoin was trading at $25,000 over there, and that is a huge opportunity. Not just for Bitcoin, but there's altcoins as well. So say you did buy 10 Bitcoin on Bitfinex, and then you wanted to send it over to a Korean exchange. Now, I'm not sure about their rules and regulations over there, if you need a Korean address or an ID or how you set up an account there. I have never done this, but one example is with Bitcoin Gold. So forget Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, it takes too long to send. Sometimes it could get locked up for a day, 2 days, 3 days, and it takes way too long to send to other exchanges. The transaction times are really slow. So let's use this example, Bitcoin Gold. And there was someone in the community, in the group, that said one of their friends made $150,000 overnight just buying and selling Bitcoin Gold between two exchanges. And he was using BitThumb and I think it was Bittrex. And what he was doing was buying Bitcoin Gold on Bittrex, sending that Bitcoin Gold over to BitThumb, and selling it on BitThumb for a profit. And he kept redoing this, repeating this, rinse and repeat. And he said it made him over $150,000 in one night. So if you're able to take advantage of this, I highly recommend doing a fair bit of research and seeing what exactly you need to get accounts set up on different exchanges. Now, I wouldn't trust all the exchanges. BitThumb is a globally recognized exchange. It's very big over there in Asia. So knowing this and knowing the price on Bittrex, those are two reputable exchanges. You're able to capitalize on these opportunities when they present themselves. But you really have to pay attention to the prices and how long it's going to take to send, and also what you need to get verified on the exchange, because a lot of them, in order to increase your withdrawal or deposit limit, you have to verify your ID, your address, your whole life story to these exchanges. So I don't know if it's possible for Americans or Europeans if you don't live over there, but if it is, I highly recommend looking into it. And we just tested this 128 area, setting new all-time highs. Looks like there's about 20k Litecoin separating us from this $130 mark. So if we can get another $3 out of this, I'm probably going to look to start taking some off. But hey, maybe we do run to 150 like GDAX did. I just feel we're always going to be a step behind GDAX because people on GDAX are coming from Coinbase. And when people buy into Litecoin on Coinbase, say the price is $131.50 right now. When somebody goes to buy Litecoin directly from Coinbase, the price is going to be about $2 to $3 higher. So they're buying it at a premium. If I went on Coinbase right now, type in my credit card, hit buy on Litecoin. On top of all the fees that you're going to do, you're going to have there's a premium on that transaction. So they take like $3, $2, $3 higher than the actual exchange price. So this is also causing GDAX a price bump. Bitfinex, I don't know why it lags so far behind. Other than that, it doesn't make sense. So I think that has to be the reason. Even though on GDAX you could buy it directly for this price, you won't be paying that premium. GDAX prices are based off of Coinbase price. So the price on Coinbase, the price on GDAX are the same. They're the same company. There is huge volume. There's about 12 minutes left. We've set new volume highs here in regards to that last candle. The previous one over here was, I believe it was 2.5 million. And right here it looks like we're at, was it? No, that was the daily. I'm sorry. So let's pull up the daily again. So here's how we're looking on volume. We are now ahead and over that 20-day volume moving average, which is a great sign. That's when we get these runs. But we still got a ways to go to catch up to this 2.2 million volume day, 2.5 million volume day. Still got a ways to go, but right now we're at 712k Litecoin volume. And GDAX is now below 130. Now we're back down to 121 on Bitfinex. There's about 11 minutes left in this current hourly candle. Fortunately, it hasn't gotten to that 130, I guess, target area yet, but I might have to take some off here at 125 just to start locking something in. That's the key here, is not aiming necessarily for the home run every time, but just looking to lock in some profits. And I'm not going to lock in everything, but locking in some is very important to building your portfolio, because nothing is certain until it's locked in. GDAX is back over 130. It's crazy to me that GDAX nearly hit 150 and we haven't even touched 130 on here. 128's been the highest. So there was at one point nearly a $20 spread on the price between GDAX and Bitfinex. Comparing it to that previous volume candle, they look about even. Well, this was on a sell. This was just under 100 or 230k volume. This candle is currently at 234k. So this is the highest hourly candle on this chart right now, which is great to see. All this volume, people are buying it. Still hanging above 130 on GDAX. But it looks like the bid's fairly thin here. We need some more buyers to come in. Final 5 minutes of this candle. Down below 130 on GDAX. I'm going to take 250 off at 122. Well, my order's probably not even going to go through because it's frozen. Yep, it logged me out. Of course. One thing I hate about Bitfinex is it always does this. I gotta log back in, type in my freaking 2FA. So this candle comes to a close, teetering right on that 120 mark. I'm curious to see how many people were sitting on the sidelines waiting for it to come down like this, and if it'll get bought back up. If people were sitting here watching this move, waiting for this pullback to happen, and see how it reacts. About 2 minutes left in the market. It'd be nice to close over 120. GDAX has come down to 125 though. Final 10 seconds. And we close right below 120. GDAX is hanging around 125. I'm watching closely to see if the buyer strength comes back in. So you could always take that order off at 122. I'd like to get above 125 again. Oh, I already got filled. So I took 350 off at 122. Now I have 1,150 left. Testing 130 here back on GDAX and just broke it. So hopefully we can get that push here on Bitfinex as well. Testing 125 again. 26 prints. It's barely hanging on to 130 over here at GDAX. I'm curious to see if it's going to break past this 128 area or get stuck. So a lot of sellers up here, about 25,000 to get past 130, and it's a very thin bid, all the way down below 117, less than 10,000. So if I hit a market order right now, it's going to clear everybody out all the way to 122, 121 area. We're back below 130 on GDAX. So I'm putting an order at 124.50. Trying to get below this big guy right here at 2,500 sells at 125. It looks like this high is now it's below 128, even though it is early. It's set that lower high. Look at my order here at 124.50 for 500 Litecoin. The volume is on pace though to reach somewhere between the top of this one and the top of this candle. So this is going to be another large volume candle as well. It's just a matter of how high it gets. I would like it to get in the 130s, but it is having some troubles here in the 120 area, which is to be expected. I'm cracking below 120 again. It's very thin though, all the way up to 125. It's only 4,000 Litecoin. Let's see if I could take 250 off at 121. GDAX is still hanging right around 130, just below. We're about $10 behind them. Which sucks because that's the difference of about $15,000 between the two exchanges. But there's nothing you could do about it. Volume is definitely slowing down though on this candle. So I just got sold. Well, a part of my position got sold at 121. Right now I'm holding up the line here. And there it goes. So my next order is sitting at 124.50 up here. I have 900 left on margin. Back over 130 now on GDAX, which is a good sign. So right now I'm just trying to exit down, scale out of the margin position. I still have a fairly large chunk sitting in non-margin and off the exchange. So I'm just doing this kind of intraday trading to lock in some profits here. 123 again. Might take this order off and let it run a bit. If it does break past 23, that 24 area kind of convincingly. I just figure if GDAX is at 129, we're probably not going to get above there. We're probably going to keep this fair distance away from the GDAX price. And this is something to really take note of and pay attention to, is other exchanges listing the price. Especially GDAX, because they're the largest American US exchange, and they're usually a few bucks ahead of the crowd. At least Bitfinex. Maybe other exchanges are different elsewhere. But I like comparing at least Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum to the GDAX prices. Yesterday, Bitcoin hit nearly $20,000 on GDAX, but on Bitfinex, Bitcoin topped out at just over 17,000. So there was about a $3,000 difference in the price between these two exchanges. Just because it reaches a certain price on one exchange doesn't mean it'll do that on the other. So this volume candle is not even going to be close now to the previous one, which isn't necessarily a good thing, but it depends where it closes. I think a red candle is coming up, and I don't want to be the person that lets some profits escape from me. What the hell is this? GameForce game driver ready. I think my graphics card needs to be updated. But not right now, because Litecoin, it's kind of consolidating at this 120 area. And the volume is not as high as the previous two candles. Probably won't even get close now to the first initial run up right here. It's a little bit concerning to me, but it's still above that 120 area. And none of these candles have closed over 120. So right now we're not doing much except for consolidating right around this 120 area. I'm going to come back closer to the end of the hour and keep my eye on this. Right now I still have my sell order about 124.50. So I'm going to be watching that area as well. So it's been a couple hours. We had this red candle pull back. It was lower volume than the previous couple candles. And this most recent green candle was also fairly low volume compared. So now we're actually pushing up here a little bit, and the volume is starting to come in. It's only been 10 minutes into the hour. It looks like it's going to be a higher volume candle than the previous one, but it really depends on the volume to see if we're going to push past this 128 level. Looking over here at GDAX, we're sitting right about 125. I still have my order in at 124.5 for 500 shares, which would knock me down to 400 shares left on margin. So it did peak its head slightly over this previous candle's high, which is a good sign. Maybe this was just a slight pullback and some consolidation, and we'll go on another run again. That's what I'm hoping for. I'd love to be able to ride this thing to the 130s to 150 area, but I can't force it. I can't force it to get all the way up there. And the bid is looking fairly thin, which is a little bit worrisome as well. So we're kind of teetering right on this green to red move. I'm really hoping some volume can get in here so we could have this next leg up. I could get out of this position, take my profits, and enjoy the rest of my day. But I don't feel comfortable just passively monitoring this. If I have gotten up today, it's me setting alerts on my phone. And I frequently talk about the price boxing and the importance of it, and I really think it's good for the traders, for you guys that are not necessarily able to babysit these positions and actively monitor them. If you have the alerts set on your phone, or you could even use a hard stop loss, then you're good to go. You don't need to babysit. I, however, kind of enjoy watching the price action and seeing what's going on in the markets and being aware. But this Litecoin has made an incredible run today. I just don't want to be stuck holding it if it does come back down to $100. I'd rather lock in those profits prior to it coming down if it was to do that, because I could always jump back in. I could always come back later, and I did it before on this trade. I originally had sold those 1,600 shares that I had somewhere in here, but I kind of got shaken out a little bit in this I guess crash, slight crash. So I decided to jump back in and take another position because I realized the overall chart was fine. It was just this hourly move that kind of shook me out a little bit. But I'm focusing more on the hourly for these live trade videos because it's really important to see the difference. The main thing, the main time frame you should be looking at is the hourly or the daily. I'm sorry. So the daily chart is the number one concern here, but for the sake of these videos, I'm doing the hourly chart. It's a little more information, so it's not so dry. But the reason I've been so profitable, and adding up the numbers here, if I was to exit my entire position right now on Litecoin, within the past month, I've made just over $75,000. Just on Litecoin alone. That's not including the rest of the trades. So probably close to, if not a little higher than $100,000 total profit from the beginning of November until now. So just over a month. But it wasn't always like this. And I did have to build my portfolio up from the ground up. And the reason and the way I was able to do that was by focusing on the daily chart. Focusing on the bigger picture as opposed to just the intraday moves. And this I've always been the intraday trader. I used to trade 1, 3, 5 minute candles in the stock market. But if I look at the 1 minute candles now, it's just very, very sporadic. It really is an emotional roller coaster. So I don't like to put myself through that stress. I'd rather just focus on those daily candles and see what the bigger move is, the bigger trend, because that's where the big money's to be made. Rather than trying to get into these short-term trades, it's best to be patient and get in really solid charts that have been solid for the past few weeks, the past few months, the past few days, rather than the past few hours or the past few minutes. What I am noticing here, though, is when you do analyze these charts and when you do look at multiple time frames, you're able to spot different trends forming. So we see right here, it's forming this higher low. Here's the low point, right at 115. It bounced off there. The next one is about 116. Although the volume has been very low. It's consolidating right now. This is the 5 minute chart. Ever since that huge run earlier, it's kind of been consolidating. So I'll keep it on here on the 5 minute chart. I like this chart. It gives you enough action to enjoy it. If we look over here at the GDAX chart, or at the GDAX price, it just broke above 125. So maybe this chart is also headed up. Actually, this chart doesn't look too hot on the hourly. Oh, there it goes. Okay, it was lagging. So GDAX is actually looking pretty bullish. Yeah, I show you. I got 77 in my GDAX. GDAX here, there is. This candle was coming down here, was kind of crashing, but now it's gotten bought up and it's green again, which is a good sign. And it got as high as 145. So that earlier prediction, 130 to 150. I wish I was on GDAX prices, but unfortunately Bitfinex is not quite there yet. It's just a good thing to notice is the different exchanges prices. On this chart, I do see some resistance right around this level. It's at about 122.50, which it's coming up to right now. So I'd really like to break past it. I might pull my order here at 124.50 if it does convincingly break past it, but we really need that volume like we were having before. I'm happy though that I held this 115 area after testing it a few times. And notice on the 115 area, that's weird, right here. So there was resistance here, support here, support here, and support here, all at this 115 area. So this leads me to believe, okay, maybe 115 is that temporary bottom. I don't like those circles. But it's tested this level quite a few times and it's held. It was resistance here, it broke out past resistance, retested it as support, then continued to move up. Now on the backside, on the downside, it's tested this level a couple times in here as well, and it managed to hold that area in here too. Good signs. Moving up a little bit in GDAX price, or moving up a little bit in Bitfinex price. I really like to stress that you don't need to be in all of the trades. A lot of people, they want to try and hit everything or catch every runner, but if you only need to catch one big runner with enough size every now and then, and you will make your account just skyrocket. And that's really what happened with this Litecoin trade. I really went deep on Litecoin ever since the 60s, the high 50s, and I just kept adding and adding and adding to this position, anticipating a move like this. This whole move has been planned out for the last month, maybe even a little more than a month. I've been waiting for this move to happen. And it finally did, and it's paid off big. This account has grown. By the time I close this trade, this account will have grown, if I sold everything right now, nearly $100,000 within the past month. And that's USD. Now, in Bitcoin, I'm not sure, because I haven't been in Bitcoin really on this account. So maybe if I would have sat in Bitcoin and caught the move from 10,000 to 15,000, 5,000 a pop, buying 10 of them, that's 50,000. Okay, it would have been good. But, you know, I didn't catch the Bitcoin move, and that's fine. I don't need to catch all the moves. But if I could just catch 1, 2, and just hit some base hits along the way, which I did with Neo, got that as a live trade. I did with IOTA. That was a good live trade. I did it with Bitcoin Cash. That was a good live trade. I did it with Aetherium. That was a good live trade. All of those little trades added up to maybe $10,000, between $5,000 and $10,000. I hit the Litecoin trade earlier with 1,600 shares. That was a $7,500 trade. So all of those base hits, as I call them, the singles, the doubles, those are fine. Those will compound your account. Those will grow your account. But as soon as you hit that home run, and I don't recommend going for that on every trade because it's not going to happen. You shouldn't expect that to happen every trade. Don't go into every trade thinking it's going to go 100%, 200%. I mean, Litecoin hasn't even gone. I think it's gone just over 100% in the past month. Let me pull up my Coinbase account on my phone real quick, just to double check that so my numbers are right. Litecoin in the past month has gone up, 102%, just over 100%. So catching one winner, and this was over the course of a month, not a day. I'm not day trading per se. This Litecoin trade I have been in since November, and I've been doing it step by step, recording the whole process because I wanted you guys to see what actually a trade looks like from start to finish. And I did it on several trades. Some of them are longer than others. Some of them were only a day or two. Some of them were only an hour. I think the Neo one, that was only an hour, 2-hour trade. And that's fine. I just took a little bit of that move and walked. I only want to take the trades I am most confident in. And I was very confident in Litecoin, based on all the previous indicators that lined up. It was following the trend line. It made that cup and handle breakout pattern. It was forming that ascending triangle on the daily. It broke out, retested the area. It broke out past resistance, retested the area as support. Then it had a leg up. And all along the way, it's been trending up for the past month. So catching these coins in the beginning of their uptrend is what can lead to huge profits. Not buying it right now. I'm not buying it right now. I'm looking to get out as soon as we see another large spike. If we see another large spike. We're having some trouble getting over this area. Look at the ask is all messed up. It shows 93, 94. I don't know why it's doing this. I'm going to refresh the page here. And now it looks like it's kind of rejecting. Even though we can't see the ask, I don't like that at all. It's very low volume though. Alright, we broke past 121. I just sold another 100. So I got 800 rolling right now. With my sell order still at 124.5. GDAX is still sitting above 126. I'm going to put the chart on here as well. Just a 5-minute chart is looking pretty much the same. Still in this consolidation phase. This candle appears to have a little bit more volume than the previous. It looks like it's starting to heat up again. One big push and I think we go on another run. This chart is trending up. It's slowly churning upwards. It's been about almost 3 hours since we've been over this volume moving average here. All these candles have been very far below it, or riding just under it. And we're finally starting to peek our head out here. Right as we near the end of this candle, the next one just opened. GDAX is moving up to 127 now. 128. GDAX is moving fast. It's just moved up $2. I think we break over this line. I'm watching up here as well. GDAX about to break 130. Testing it right now. There's this 1,000 seller. That's nothing. Here we go. Just broke over 122. And we are moving now on Bitfinex. Click of a button and I'm canceling this 124 order. The ask is all messed up again. The wrong numbers. I'd have to assume though this is 123, 123.50, every 50 cents. 131 printing on GDAX. Volume coming in. See, it peeks its head over that moving average, and that's when we get the breakthrough resistance. Alright, I'm taking this order off at 24.50 because I think it's going to go. There we go. Just fixed the asks. 131 on GDAX, and we're moving up on Bitfinex. There's 124 prints. Volume peeking its head over. This candle is about to close. Alright, so I want to see one of these huge volume rips and take us to 130, please. 24.9. Testing 125 again. It's only 10k between now, or 17k between now and 130. Testing 125 right now. We still got $5 to go. But I'd really like to hit that target of 130, which is what I was aiming for in the very beginning of this trade. $2 off ain't bad, but I want to be on the money here. And hell, if it ran to 150, I ain't going to complain. 126 prints. Volume is strong. We still have 3 minutes left on this candle. It's higher than the previous two. GDAX about to test 132. There it goes. It just broke 132. So as we see GDAX start to move up, I'm hoping Bitfinex keeps on chugging along right behind it. I think we just need one global, decentralized exchange with all the top 100 coins. That would be ideal for my trading strategy. Here we go. 126.50. Bring it on. 127 printing. These guys just want in. Those dark green, they're just buying above the current price. Above the first seller. They don't care when they're getting in. They just want to buy. It's a lot of people chasing with FOMO right now. And we're about to test the all-time high on Bitfinex here at 128. I still have 800 rolling on top of the 955. On top of everything else I have in other exchanges and wallets. So I've only been selling my margin position, which is money that I'm borrowing from the exchange to trade with. Now, I don't necessarily recommend that for everybody. It's a very risky. It's very risky, and I don't do it all the time. But trading with leverage and more money that's in your account can be very dangerous, and there's a lot of risks involved. So you have to be aware of that. There was a point in time when this was crashing that this was negative $35,000. And I can't say I was not a little bit nervous, but I was still very confident in the trade and confident in my position and confident in the chart. So I kept it on and I didn't sell into that panic. The second time around, well, a little bit. That 1600 I ended up selling. It was kind of an impulse decision, but the time of day and just where I was at during that call, I jumped off a call and I jumped right into the trade and recording. Wow, look at that wick, 124. So this maybe it's a double top. I just want to see 130. Or maybe it tests this 122 level before making a move up. There's a significant amount of volume. It's only been 1 minute. Someone just market dumped a ton of Litecoin. That's why we had that wick. Somebody just hit market order, get me out of this position. They're scared this is a double top, which it could be. I have 800 left, so I'm probably looking to take 400 off next go around. Half the position. There is a ton of volume. It's only been just under 2 minutes. It's almost touching this previous day, or this previous candle. The hour's about to close. Let's bring up the hourly here real quick. That's what we're looking at on the hourly. And it's actually more volume than the previous hour. But it's having a hard time getting over this previous high. Take another 200 off at 126. If I can get filled here. Final 2 minutes of this candle. And the ask is messed up again. 124, 123, 92. I don't know why it's doing that. I've actually never seen that before. GDAX is down below 130 though. And this has me thinking, okay, maybe it could be a double top. At least right now on the hourly. The daily's fine. But I do want to lock in profits accordingly. Come on, one final push right through these all-time highs. Got 45 seconds. We close below 125. I'm going to bring up the 5-minute candle again. That was a big volume sell-off. It's a little bit worrisome. So I have a 200 order in at 126. Take some more off if I can get a bounce up here. GDAX came down below 130 as well. 124 is kind of cracking. So notice how it kind of double topped here. It wasn't able to break this 128 level and it kind of rejected off of it. Now I want to see how it reacts on this bottom resistance or this bottom support. It was resistance here, was resistance here. Now I want to see how it's going to act as support. on the downside. I'd like for it to hold and bounce up, but it doesn't always do what I'd like it to do. Now we're back up over 124. Over 125. And GDEX just broke 130 again. It really doesn't want to go down without a fight here. I got my order at 126. I'll probably just let it fill. It's only 200 shares. That'll bring me down to 600 total on margin. This is a much lower volume candle than the previous. And Bitfinex just logged me out conveniently. Now we're about to test 126, see if my order will get filled here. 125.95. I just got filled. Broke through 126. There's my order right there. 200 at 126. Someone just bought. Better you than me. Although I hope it goes up for your sake as well. This candle is extremely volatile. There's still 2 minutes left here. It's higher than the previous candle. And I still have 600 Litecoin rolling. I'd like to be able to hold these 600 and if we break this 130 area. But we need that volume that we saw over here. Or somebody to fat finger a market order and launch it to 150. Someone just buys 200,000 Litecoin market order. It'll go up to 150. It'll probably come down just as quick, but... So what I'm noticing here as well is kind of this cup formation, this U-shaped pattern. Let's see if I could draw it out here on the squigglies. So it came up here, it tested this 128 level. Is this how you draw it out? There it is. Tested the 128 level. It rejected and it's come down and it's kind of forming what I see is this cup. It came back up, retested that same area, came back down, held that previous support, and now it looks like it's forming kind of this cup and handle. And this is a pattern I've talked about the entire course in a few different scenarios. I actually gave an example on Litecoin earlier in the chart, and this is initially when I got into this position. It was in the early stages of forming a cup and handle pattern, and this is a bullish pattern. It comes up, hits that initial resistance area, comes down, forms that base, forms that kind of rounded base like it has here, retests that same resistance area, comes back down, sets a higher low, which was, it held this resistance right here as support. So it held this area as support, and now it's kind of forming that handle. So I guess we're going to see here in the next couple minutes whether it is a correct analysis to be playing out how I'm predicting. The ultimate factor here is the volume, though. And if no one's here buying it, if the volume's not coming in, then it's just going to fall down and collapse. But if the volume is coming in, there's buyers, much like there was over here, then we'll get that huge push. We'll get that next leg up. And now it's kind of coming down, kind of selling off a little bit. But as long as it's holding over this previous resistance area and this area acts as support, then I'm comfortable sitting in here. I still have 600 shares. I could close with about one or two clicks maybe. And it looks like we're coming down on GDEX as well. Let me pull up the hourly chart and see how we're looking here. And it just went kind of red on the hour as well. And maybe it will do something like it did previously. I'm going to get rid of this cup and handle thing. But so it had the breakout. It came back down. Formed that higher base. It formed that higher low. Let's pull up the daily and see where that was at. Okay, it's not even on the chart. Let me go back to the hourly. So it held this base right here. Then it had the next leg up. If it holds this area right here, it could be doing a very similar thing as this one right here. It has the breakout. It touches 128. It comes back down. It held this 115 area. Both these candles did. And then it broke through this previous candle's high, which was 122. So as long as it's holding this 122 area, I think we're fairly safe. Or I'm fairly safe. I don't know about everybody else. I'm confident in this position. Now there's about 45 minutes left on this candle. It doesn't look like there's a ton of volume, at least compared to these previous candles. Everybody looks like they kind of bought in and then just decide to walk away from the computer, which maybe it is a good idea, but I'm doing a live trade here. So I'd really like it to see it hold above this 122 area. And I might sell out of the position if it does crack, depending on where it closes. I could always jump back in later. That's kind of my mindset. At least on margin. Close out the margin. Looks like GDAX has come down to 128. What you gonna do, Litecoin? You gonna hold this area or you gonna bounce right off of it? So it held this base, and notice right where it bounced off of was right at this support line. It was resistance here, and now it's acting as support after it broke through on the downside. So someone could theoretically buy in right now and play off this bottom line. If it cracked, you sell it for a very small loss. If it holds, then you bought potentially the new bottom. I wouldn't necessarily do that on 5-minute candles, but when I was trading stocks, that's how I'd roll. It was very, very fast paced, and the 5 minutes was even slow paced for that. Generally, it was 1 and 3 minute candles. Oh, we just jumped up to green here. That red to green move, and green to red. Holy, wow! It just hit 127. What the heck? Looks like someone market ordered. That's what I was talking about. If somebody puts in a market order, it's just going to knock all these guys out until it's filled. So that's exactly what that just looked like. Was somebody put in a market order and it just jumped. Yep, 2,000. Whoa. And notice right where it landed. Huge volume. Somebody definitely just put in a huge order. 2,000 there. I don't know what they were doing, but kind of wish I had an order up there at 127. 126.50. Get rid of another 200. Just in case that happens again. Even though it kind of does look like it might be curling up, that volume is very nice to see. But I like selling into strength rather than chasing down the weakness. And now the bids and asks are all messed up again with showing 90s. I'm going to refresh the page and see what happens. I'm liking this volume candle though. Even though I think it was from somebody market ordering and just buying up all the asks, all the offers. The volume is good. But notice right where it touched was that 120. There must be a big seller here. Doesn't show it, but maybe he's just sitting on the sidelines waiting. Because it's tested this area once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. It's acting as a very strong resistance at this 128 area. Alright, we're back over 125 now. Or at least hovering right around that range. And we're still consolidating between these two zones. Now, this just because it didn't do the cup and handle pattern here, this could still be considered a cup and handle. It just needs to stay above this line. And isn't it kind of crazy how it works? That notice right where it bounced off of. Resistance, resistance, support. It really works just like that. That was a very low volume candle though on the last one. So we really need that big volume push like we just had over here to push us through this next level. GDAX just got over 130 again. Really want this to get over 130 so I could take off the rest. I do have that order in for 200 though at 126.5. Here we go, testing 126 again. My order didn't quite fill yet, but we should see it printed here soon. There she goes, 126.50. Some of them. Only about 5. It was right there. Not all of it filled. Come on. Give me that volume push. Slowly chipping down my position. My order still hasn't filled yet. It's testing right below it. Slowly climbing up the stairway to resistance. GDAX is over 130 again. Good to see. A little bit just sold. That 47 was on mine. That 11 was on mine. I am now holding everybody else up. That 43 was on mine. Come on. Take me out of the Litecoin. 91 left. Now we're down to low 25s again. GDAX just went up to 131 and Bitfinex is dropping down. Bitcoin's hovering at 15,000. I'll clear up the chart here real quick. So new lines I'm going to draw out real quick. Snap by default. Right here. Now support. Resistance here, it's now support. More resistance right here. It failed to break it over here. It failed to break it over here. It's consolidating between these two levels. There's more support down here as well. About this 115 area. I did notice, however, there was this U-shape cup formation. So right here, it makes this cup formation. It retests this resistance line, comes down, held this as support, and now it's making that handle. How big that handle will be, I don't know, but this is the pattern that's playing out in real time. So being able to identify these patterns is very important, and that's why I'm still holding on to a chunk of my shares. I still have 91 that I'm about to get filled on as soon as it hits 126.50, which should be right now. On top of the 955 here, I just saw I had 70 something in GDAX. I know I have a bunch in storage right now that I'd like to hold, but I do like actively trading. And that 53 just came out of my stash as well, so I have 37 left here. And back down to low 126s. Used to be 200 Litecoin was only $4,000 bucks. And that was not too long ago. That was only beginning of this year. Or even middle of this year. Litecoin, a lot of people say, oh, when's Litecoin gonna go? When's Litecoin gonna pump? When's Litecoin gonna moon? Well, it's been that sleeper pick this year, and I've really been able to capitalize on Litecoin, and it's been my most profitable trade. After I complete this trade, as long as it doesn't fall out of the sky here and crash, it's going to be my most profitable trade of 2017, Litecoin. The ticker Litecoin. I've had multiple trades on it that have been over $20,000. This trade is looking like nearly a six-figure trade. If we can get up to this 150 area. Oh my gosh, I will celebrate tonight, because that'd be a 6-figure trade, and I've never hit that before, and it's a great accomplishment. But it came with patience, and I've spent the entire year. I only started last year, right after the elections, right after Trump got into office, because that's how I really got deeply involved in cryptocurrency. I started with about $1,500, and I've grown this account throughout the year, and I've hit some very big wins that have really compounded my gains. Now, every trade hasn't been a winner. I have lost, but learning how to manage my risk appropriately prior to placing that trade, using that vicious pre-trade checklist, I do that before every single trade. I plan it out every time, because you need to go into these markets with a plan of attack. And I have had losses, and I've had big losses. I think the biggest loss I had was BAT, Basic Attention Coin. And now my order's filled and we're moving up a little bit. But Basic Attention Coin, I really liked the project fundamentally, and I kind of ignored my rules and got emotions involved with the coin. And it burned me. And this is why I'm constantly trying to improve and improvise my strategy, because that burned me in the past, getting so wrapped up in the fundamentals of the coin. They had all this big news coming out. They were going to redefine advertising. They had the founder of Mozilla Firefox and JavaScript on their team, building this coin, building this project. I'm actually using the Brave browser, and this was for Basic Attention Coin. And it just fell apart. They had this deadline of news that they didn't reach, and it failed, and it started cracking down. And at the same time, Bitcoin just started skyrocketing. And I sold half my position, but I held on to half my position. I had a fairly large size position. I held on to half to see what would happen, and it just kept bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. And I kept making excuses to myself to not sell it. And eventually I did cut it. It ended up being about a $10,000, $15,000 loss. But that is a mistake I had to learn, and that was a while ago. But learning from my mistakes and constantly improving is how I've molded myself into the trader I am today. And I'm not saying I'm the best trader ever, but I have a strategy, and it's been successful for me. I've grown an account from $1,500, and I want to make $1 million in 2018. I want to make $1 million trading cryptocurrency. That is my goal, and I think it's possible. The hardest part was building the account up from the ground up. It's hard when you're starting out. It's really hard, because you won't see a $30,000 trade. You might see a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 trade, but that's good for that size of an account. It's all in relation to your account size. And I don't go looking for home runs every trade. I would take my 20%, my 30%, my 40% and move on. It adds up. That's how you build the account. Don't go into every trade thinking it's going to be the next Bitcoin, it's going to be the next Ethereum, it's going to be the next Litecoin. It ain't going to happen. Take the profits and move on. Build that account up, and then you could come on Bitfinex, then you can come on Margin and start working at playing large caps, which are these large market cap coins. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Dash, Zcash, Monero, Ripple, IOTA, OMG, Neo. I don't play some of them, but these are the larger market cap coins. They're generally a safer bet. And right now we're moving past 128. 128 taking a lot of hits right now. Ton of volume coming in. We just broke 128 and we're moving up fast. And we're catching up to GDAX at 133. I'm hoping we can get here to the 130s. And we are moving up. I still have 400 left. 129 print. Look at that volume. See what happens when we get the volume? And the cup and handle did play out. Now let's see if we come back down, test this high, this previous all-time high at 128, and hold it. That's what I'm looking for. Otherwise, it's just kind of a fake out for a dollar move. Hold this 128 area. We want it to close above this previous high. That's what I'm looking for here. Sitting at about 133 on GDAX. Oh, it just touched 125. Tons of volume coming in though. About 20 seconds left here, and it is currently below that line. So it kind of looks like a fake out breakout. And this is one of the reasons I don't like buying breakouts, because sometimes this happens. It does these fake out breakouts. It breaks out and then it just comes right back down. So it only moved up about $1, the all-time high. New candle just opened. There's a ton of action though. Getting a lot of attention here. I do, however, notice that Litecoin on GDAX is still above 130, which is a good sign. They're not going to get too far away in price. I'm going to pull up the daily chart here, hourly chart. So we're green on the hourly still. On the daily we're very green, but notice the volume on the daily. We still have just over 3 hours left. We're probably going to pass this day. It's probably going to be the second highest volume day in Litecoin history. From the looks of the chart. Oh, maybe over here as well. And this is right when it got added to Coinbase, actually. About 9 minutes left in the hour. The volume did increase since the previous hour. I want just one more big push. If we can just get that one push. I know I might sound a little greedy, but difference is I've already taken profits. I've already taken how many? 1,100 shares off the table of my 1,500 share margin position. So it may sound greedy, but this whole time I've been scaling out. I've been locking in profits, just in case something tragic does happen. And as soon as I'm done selling this off, I might move on to selling off some of the actual shares I own not on margin. Even though I do believe in Litecoin long term, and I do think it's going to keep going up, but I like to lock in profits because I could always jump back in later. I want to reassess the chart, and I like selling into strength. I like taking profits into strength. I'm going to get rid of that cup and handle drawing. Since we did have that kind of fake out breakout, and we only moved up $1. GDAX came down a little bit from that 133 area. Now we're still consolidating, chugging along in the 120s. So this hour's about to close. I'm going to switch over to the hourly chart real quick just to confirm where it's closing. And it's good. It's spot on. Notice right the low point, it held that previous candle's resistance. It now acted as support. And the wick did get higher on this candle, but it was unable to close at the same above this previous all-time high. But it still closed above 125, which is a good sign I like to see. It's still following this slow, steady uptrend. We could draw the line here. See if it lines up somewhat. It's kind of following this uptrend, and the wicks have been below, but notice where it's closed, and that's what I'm more focused on. It kind of starts right here. So as long as it's following this sort of uptrend, then there's no reason for me to get out. And we could say, okay, this is kind of an ascending triangle, and we've seen in the past that Litecoin likes making these ascending triangles. So say there is resistance right here. It's climbing. It's making this triangle formation. Setting higher lows, and we're still having trouble getting over these highs. But it's coming to that point where it's going to make a decision. It either breaks down or it breaks upwards and starts going on another run. So what I'm noticing right here is Litecoin is trending very, very carefully right on this line. And I'm really concerned as to whether or not it's going to be able to hold. Now this is the 5 minute. Wouldn't necessarily say this is the most accurate piece of information to go off of for using technical analysis, but that's what I'm looking at right now. If I was to pull up the hourly, it's not going to look like this. It's only maybe been 2 hours. Okay, it's been 3 hours that this line is drawn over. But this is the trend line that it's starting to form, and this is on the 5 minutes that I'm watching. Because while I do want this to get over 130, I do want it to go up, but I understand that this is a very long trade, and this is generally how my trades are. I tend to not really trade intraday, day to day. I'm more focused on what's going to happen over the next couple weeks, couple days, couple months, rather than the next 10, 15, 20 minutes. And that's a much more profitable strategy, at least that I've found. There are people that I'm sure are very successful and made a lot of money just doing day trading on these. But it's just not my strategy. And that's important, is to find a strategy that fits you as a person. Formulate a strategy that works for you. That it doesn't, who cares what anybody else is doing? This is how I like to trade. This is the strategies I've used to grow my account from almost nothing to actually a significant amount of money in a year. Now we're teetering right on this 125 area, right on the line. So it's either I play off this bottom line right here, or I play off this trend line. I'd prefer to play off the trend line, but I only got 400 shares riding. So we're starting to kind of get a little bit below that trend line. So it's really, I'm really curious where this candle's going to close. But again, this trend line's only drawn out since 1 o'clock. It's now 4 o'clock. So the past 3 hours, I like to focus on the trend lines over the past couple weeks rather than couple hours. I'm going to look back on this chart and see how Litecoin has played out over the past few weekends. So since we are headed into the weekend here, the weekend of the 2nd, 1st, and 3rd. So right here. So last weekend it was green over the weekend. It still didn't do much though. The previous weekend, which was the 24th, 25th, 26th, it was going up as well. But the weekends generally tend to be a slower time in the market. A lot of people are not trading. A lot of people are away. And now we're coming down a bit. Cracking below this trend line. So I'm going to put in another order here for another 200 shares right at 125. And this will reduce my position down to the final 200. Come back up to that 125 area. And it looks like I'm going to start getting out of this position here. I might pull it though. It's very low volume. Still above 130 over at GDAX. Oh, couldn't quite hit my 125 order. So we're now coming down to this bottom support line. We're still holding above it, but this is the area I'm watching. We've had quite a few red candles in a row getting sold off into. Really need them buyers to come back in and push the price up. But if they don't, then I have no problem exiting out of this position and locking in the profits. Alright, so we're coming to that point where it's starting to crack below, at least wick below this line. So I'm hoping I'm able to catch this bounce of $25 and take off this other 200. Then I just have 200 left riding. Really curious though to see where this candle closes. I'd like it to close green. That's going to indicate a reversal. Nice. So it barely closed green, kind of like a doji candle. But generally that does mean it's going to reverse the trend. So it was red for 5 candles straight. Hopefully we can get this reversal going and pop back up here to $25. We're still above 130 here. Oh, we just dropped below on GDAX. Oh, that was a $2 drop. It's good to take notice that GDAX is starting to come down, and generally this is going to start to come down with it. I still got that order up here at 125. I'm going to put 50 more in at, I'll do 122.25. I'm slowly trying to scale out of this position in case we do get that dump off. Looks like it froze. So I put that order in at 122.25 for 50 Litecoin. So it's coming up to that 122 level, looking like we might be able to catch a bounce. And it looks like I just got filled for another 50. There it is, that 125.50 Litecoin. That order is mine right there. So I'm riding here with 350 more Litecoin left to sell. I do have that order for 200 sitting at about 125. Maybe catch that bounce up there. But this hour has not been doing much. It's kind of just been fading off, consolidating. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the hourly chart and see how we're looking. Yeah, we're hanging right below this line. I'd love to see it close above this 122 area, and hopefully this is just a wick all the way down here at these prices. If we can close above 122, I'm very comfortable in this position still. However, if we do start to pull back and close where we are now, then I'm going to be looking to get out of this position. Looks like we're still sitting at, I wonder if this is accurate. I'm going to do an update on GDAX. So GDAX right now is at 128. There's actually quite a bit of buyers on the GDAX wall, buy wall. But Bitfinex has been kind of dropping down. I'm going to put another 50 at 122.25, see what happens. It looks like I was actually logged out. Gotta log back in. Bitfinex. Stupid exchange always logs me out. Come on, Bitfinex, you could do it. I'm curious if this has an impact on the price. Other people are having a really laggy platform as well. It could definitely impact the price. People are not able to get on here and sell. It causes panic. People are selling off. People aren't going to want to buy if the platform's laggy. So I'm going to knock off that support area here since it did crack and redraw the lines. So there's still support down here, this 115 area. There's going to be resistance up here. This is kind of the two areas it's between, and it's kind of fading off now. It broke that uptrend that was forming, and ever since then it's been kind of fading off. It was making this cup and handle breakout, and it turned out to be a fake out breakout, It only moved up $1 from that previous all-time high, and ever since then it's been coming down. So I'm glad I've kind of been scaling out of this position. I only have, let's see, 300 something shares left, 350 shares left. I'm going to put in another order here at 122.25 for 50 shares. And see if I can catch some sort of bounce up there. The one thing I do notice, though, it's very low volume. It's not a large volume sell-off. We don't have the same type of volume as we did over here earlier in the day. It's just searching for that new bottom. We're teetering right on that $120 natural support. I'd like to stay above this, but it looks like we're kind of breaking down and cracking below. And these candles have been red for quite some time now. It wasn't able to get this reversal off on this 5-minute candle, but again, these 5-minute candles, there's a lot of just, not necessarily random, but it's just intraday chop is what I call it. There's a lot of chop, and if you get chopped up, you end up buying up here on the breakout, and that's why I don't necessarily like buying breakouts, but you buy the breakout and then it just dumps off on you. So this intraday chop is what I like to try and avoid. Really not interested here in chasing this weakness. I'm just going to be patient. Although I think my hard stop is this level. So this is when I completely exit the position. No ifs, ands, or buts if it does end up breaking and closing below this $15 area. GDAX is now down to 126. Alright, so it looks like we're getting some sort of bounce here. Depending on where this closed, maybe a bullish engulfing candle forming. It's going to close in about another minute and 15 seconds here. But I'd like to see that sort of reversal start to form. At least get up to the 125 so I can take my position off and get out of this trade, lock in the profits, and move on. We're coming up to the end of the hour. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the hourly chart here after we see where this closes here in the next 30 seconds. So we're over 120. Now if we could close here, final 7 seconds. And it's really looking kind of like it's engulfing this previous candle. I don't know if I'd call this a bullish engulfing candle quite, but it did close higher than that previous red day. It did kind of engulf it. Not very convincingly finish, but it's looking good. And notice on where it's at the chart right now. So we could say this area was that previous, instead of playing off the wick, we put the support right here. So it did kind of bounce off this area and held. As long as it holds above this area, that's a good sign. There's this $118, $119 area. That's where I'm hoping we're able to close above. I'd be fine with a little bit of consolidation between 127 and 118 for a few hours, so I could kind of get up and stretch the legs. Well, we're coming down here to the final 5 minutes, final 4 minutes of this candle. I want to know where it's going to close. I do still have my order up here sitting at 122.25. It's only for 50 shares, but it will reduce my position to the final 300 shares on margin. This candle was also lower volume than the previous candle on the sell-off. So as long as these sell-offs have lower volume than these green candles, then that's a good sign. I'm looking to take profits. It might not be a bad idea to add on some of these dips and retracements, but I'm looking to lock this in before making that decision. We got 2 minutes left until this hour is done. I'm looking for that close above 120, preferably above 119 at the lowest. Final minute here. Alright, so the final 10 seconds, it does look like it's going to close over that 120 mark. So what I'm going to do here is set my alerts. I'm going to price box this, and I'm going to go get up and walk around, grab some lunch, because I've been sitting here for several hours watching this chart. Now, as much as I do like that, I need to move so I don't become a vegetable. So I'll tune in back here in a little bit and check in on the chart and see how it's doing. Alright, so I'm back here and the days just switched over. We just switched over and we ended up closing right here above 120, which is good to see. And we're starting to move up here a little bit. The day actually closed about equal, a little bit under that previous red candle of volume. It's definitely one of the top volume days. Probably a top 5, it looks like. Top 5, top 6. In terms of volume. So I still have a few Litecoin rolling. My one order got filled at 122.25 for 50. So I only have 300 left on margin. Now I am noticing here that GDAX is over 130 again. So I actually just pulled my order at 125 and I'm keeping a close eye on it. This candle's about to close in the last 9 minutes here. But I like this chart. I like it so far. We're able to hold that 120 area, and that was key. These 3 candles each closed above 120, which is good. And now we're moving up to the higher middle 120s again. Looks like we're frozen. I'm going to refresh. My Bitfinex signed off. This is frozen. What is going on? Okay, I'm offline. Bitfinex, this is working. We're testing 125 though right now. I'm glad I pulled that order now. Alright, we're back in action. I wish Bitfinex charts were not as bad as they are. They're very laggy and behind. We're seeing a good push here, and we're seeing some volume come in. I'm looking at the 5-minute chart on my other screen, but I really want to get past and close over this previous high. It is coming down to the nighttime now on Friday night, so a lot of the Europeans right now are in bed. They're sleeping, and Bitfinex is a European exchange, so I'm curious to see if we're able to break these highs here. I'm going to go ahead and put up the 5-minute chart again. A little bit more action here. So we've still been consolidating between these 2 levels, and we did have, this was when I originally got off prior, when it was kind of fading off here, but it did end up holding this level. And just because these candles close down here, it doesn't really matter. I'll redraw it out. So, okay, we could say this is the support. This is the new support. This is the new resistance. These are the levels it's consolidating between right now. But we really need volume because there's a lot of sellers. There's 20k sellers up until 31. And we haven't been able to break over 30 yet because more sellers keep showing up when we reach those levels. It's not just me looking at that 130 area, it's a lot of people. And they're fighting for the exits as soon as we get up there. So a good strategy for right now, if you don't want to babysit, is the price boxing. And I keep mentioning this, but it's a very good tool. You could set one at the top here at 129. So it alerts you if it breaks all-time highs. You could set one towards the bottom here, maybe at 120. I have mine at 118. But maybe at 120, then you could come back and watch in case it does break down, and you could sell. Oh wow, we just jumped 126. There's a lot of volume coming in, and the 5-minute candle just switched over. It's only a minute in, and we're already moving. GDAX is over 130, being the 26s again. What I do notice over here is on the Litecoin pairing with Bitcoin, Litecoin is not even worth 1/10 of the value of Bitcoin. Now there are 4 times as many Litecoin in circulation, but Litecoin being the silver to Bitcoin's gold, I think it's very undervalued. I think it's extremely undervalued. I think it could be worth at least 1/10 of a Bitcoin, but even 1/4 of a Bitcoin at the very most. 1/4 of a Bitcoin I don't think is unrealistic for Litecoin. It still does have a long way to go, but it's possible, especially if they're able to scale accordingly and fix the issues that Litecoin or that Bitcoin has. Bitcoin is having all these issues with transaction times and the fees, this and that, and there's a few alternatives: Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin. Those are the 2 runners up. So whichever one does happen to win the race, or they both increase in value, I think there's huge potential here. Especially since Litecoin is the only one of the top coins that hasn't made a ridiculous... Today is the ridiculous run, I guess. It's the new all-time high. Up until today, it hadn't made a run yet. Like Aetherium, like Dash, like Zcash, like IOTA. A lot of these coins, these top coins, recently made all-time highs. And what didn't make an all-time high was Litecoin. But Litecoin has now made that all-time high right here on this move. It was kind of consolidating right around that $100 level, those previous all-time highs, and now it's really moving again. Now, something that does kind of concern me is you could say this is not a picture-perfect head and shoulders, but we do see kind of an early formation of that head and shoulders. And it's possible. We see the run up here. Left shoulder. Comes down, rejects. Makes a run up again, creates that head higher than the left shoulder. Comes down and tests that neckline again. And now it's coming up, and it needs to get over this previous shoulder. It also needs to get over the head, but it needs to make this run 4 all-time highs again. It needs to break this 130 mark and really run. Because over here, it touched 128, came back down. Then it touched 129, came back down. So if it doesn't break out here, I'm going to look to lock in the profits, at least for now. Simply because this is kind of a head and shoulders pattern forming. Even though it's not picture perfect. This is the 5-minute chart. It's not the most accurate, but it is possible. And I want to be able to lock this trade in, lock this win in live here, so you guys can see that it's possible. It's possible to make a significant amount of money by trading and getting in and out of these coins over the past month, and just trading over the past month. All my profits that I've had. This has been such an incredible month for me as a trader that has only been seriously involved with cryptocurrencies for about a year. I do have experience in the past of trading stocks for several years. I've been trading, but I haven't been trading crypto. So making that transition, it has been fairly easy. It has been fairly straightforward, but there still was a learning curve. But I'm here to let you guys know that this is possible. And my account was only at $1,500 a year ago, November. When I bought Bitcoin, granted Bitcoin has gone up to $20,000, $15,000, whatever. But I only started with, I think, 1.5 or 2 Bitcoins. or 2.5 Bitcoins. So okay, I would have had 40,000 bucks, maybe 50,000 if I just held Bitcoin. But I've made way more than just holding Bitcoin, and that's because I'm actively trading. Now, do I think Bitcoin's going to keep going up and just make everybody money? It's possible, but I'm more of a take my profits and move on to the next one. Not that I think Bitcoin will fail or go down necessarily, but that's just not my strategy. So this is the test right here at 128, and the ask is now messed up, so is the bid. I'm going to refresh the page. And the volume is starting to heat up. One big push and we could really go through here, this level. 128 testing. Couple of prints. This is really messed up and it's pissing me off though. And GDAX is at 132. Last time GDAX was at almost 150 when it was at these levels on Bitfinex. We're over 128 now. Test this 129 area. Really convinced me. I have 300 left and I'm looking to take some off if we're able to break through here. Come on, there's only 6,000. Somebody buy them up. Here we go, testing 129. Come on. Print a 129. Somebody buy it. 129 prints. Here we go. 1,300 left. Here we go. Volume push. There we go. Broke 129. New all-time highs. So cool. The head and shoulders pattern was now determined not to be a head and shoulders pattern forming, as we did break out here and set new all-time highs. And GDAX is at 133, so we're only within $3 now of that price. The next trial is getting over this 130 mark. There's only 4,500 sellers, as long as people don't shake out right here. Come on, we need some dark green prints. Here we go. We need some volume to push the price up. We're not getting the volume. It's not a very convincing breakout here. Much like what happened over here, kind of had this fake out breakout. There is some volume, but it's slowly chipping away at this 130 seller. There's about 4,000 sitting here. Well, at least we closed above the previous all-time high. It's just a matter of knocking down this guy at 130 and everybody else that are stepping in front of him to sell. Really don't want to be a party pooper here, but I don't want to get dumped on. Alright, I'm putting that 129 for 50. Taking off 50 more. We're not getting really that convincing breakout. We're getting these hyped up runs, and then it's just getting sold into. Alright, there's my order, 55. No, it's at 128.5. I didn't even get filled yet. I only got filled with 2. So we're moving up over here on GDAX, but right here on Bitfinex, we're kind of getting held up. I think my order just filled actually. Yep, 50 at 129. So now I'm rolling with the final. How much do I got? 250 Litecoin. And we just broke 129. Okay, let's see if we could do this 130 for real. If you see something funny here, look at this. It says my base price is negative $23. And it doesn't make any sense. But here we are. Come on. Break this 130. 129.99. Just break the 130. There's 2,000 Litecoin separating us. There we go. 130 prints. I'm happy now. So I've reached the target. I got 250 Litecoin rolling on margin, plus the 955 that I own in this account. And we've officially broken past 130. So I've reached my target. I am now happy. Should I be greedy and hope for more? I do think Litecoin will keep going up. I like Litecoin. And I do think it's undervalued. But there comes a point in time where you should probably just lock in profits. And I want to be able to lock in this live trade for you guys to show you exactly what I do to profit consistently in the markets. And I would like to see my P&L continue to grow just because it's nice to see, but this is just stupid trading. It's almost a 40,000 profit on just this margin position that was 1,500 Litecoin. So that's nice to see. I've never locked in a $40,000 trade, and I think my previous high was just shy of 30,000. I know Neo was a big trade for me, and Litecoin's really been that big winner, and I've been really consistent with profiting on Litecoin. Overall, it's definitely the biggest winner I've had. But now everyone's just FOMO buying off the 130 break. So if we can get one big green candle, one big push, I'll probably just take it off into that. I'm only getting $250 for every dollar it moves now. So it's not going to go up that much. So to hit 40K, what do I need? I need $1,500 divided by 250 Litecoin. It needs to go up $6. Alright, so I'm going to put my sell order at 136. And I'm selling the rest of this margin position. That'll be 250 Litecoins at $36. So it's got a ways to go to get up there. We have to eat through 20,000 Litecoin to hit that sell target. But it's at 132 right now. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to go eat dinner because it's 8 o'clock at night and I've literally sat in the chair all day. But I have made damn near 6 figures on this trade. Probably a little bit more than 6 figures now that we've broken 130. It's been a crazy day and it's been my biggest win. So I ordered taco delivery. So I'm going to go eat my dinner. And I'll tune in back here and let you guys know when my order fills. So I wasn't able to capture the remaining part of the Litecoin trade, but it was basically just me selling out the rest of what I had in increments. So I went back here through the reports to show you guys exactly the profits that I had on the Litecoin trade. And you can see them right here. So this one was 40,000, 33,000, and this was just me selling out my position. So here was a 245 order at 137. So I was just slowly scaling out of this position, and if you add these all up, this was well over $100,000 trade, and it's personally my best trade, and it definitely could have been better. I'm not saying this was my most accurate trade. I could have held on to Litecoin and sold it all in the 300 area. But I didn't. I didn't catch the exact top, so I guess there's a lesson to be learned here. And I hope you guys could understand this. You don't need to necessarily catch the very bottom or the very top to make money. And you don't have to be the perfect trader. It's a good lesson also for myself and trying to remain patient. Even when you see those numbers, when the trade's playing out in your favor, the days are closing green, momentum is in your favor, it's really, really important to remain patient and remain calm, even when you do see the big numbers. For me, when I saw a $100,000 opportunity, well, I wanted to capture it, but it could have been a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 opportunity had I just held Litecoin for a few more days and waited for it to kind of top out. So there's some lessons to be learned here, but also I'm very thankful that I was able to capture this trade on camera, because this was my biggest to date. Recently, I actually had a $87,000 win on Bitcoin Cash. It's somewhere in here. Oh, there's a $21,000 win on Bitcoin Cash. But I've been hitting some big trades lately, and I'm happy because the Litecoin trade really gave me that confidence to kind of hit these trades with bigger size, go into them with a little more firing power, and you could really reap the rewards like that. When I'm confident in the trade, I'm confident in the setup, then I want to hit it with size, especially when it starts to play out in my favor. So I'm really mitigating my risk, and the reward can be huge. So that about wraps it up here for episode 10. I hope you guys enjoyed the live trade, enjoyed the commentary, going day by day. I know Litecoin, it was kind of an emotional roller coaster. There were some days where it just dipped, and I was really close to liquidation. There was some definitely close calls in there, but it's really important that you're able to just focus on the overall trend and anticipate what's going to happen next. And Litecoin, I knew it was undervalued because all the other top market cap coins recently had made all-time highs, and Litecoin was kind of lagging behind. So I knew its turn was coming up soon, coming up next. And that's why I was able to be confident in the trade and really hit it hard. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. I ended up watching it again just because I thought it's great to experience that. That was my biggest trade ever. I have not had a bigger trade yet to date, and I got it all recorded. So one of the first trades I ever recorded was my biggest ever. I think that has a lot to say about recording. I think recording your trades is probably one of the best ways to hold yourself accountable to your strategy. I have a very specific crypto trading strategy, and sitting here recording and knowing that it's on camera and everybody's going to be able to see exactly what I was doing, I was trying super hard to stay disciplined on myself and stick to my strategy, and I really think it paid off. Even though it wasn't perfect, that trade could have gone better tenfold. I could have probably had $500,000 in profits had I held on a little bit longer, or had I added more to my position, or had I not sold early. I mean, there was a ton of different ways I could have improved, but I think the best point I got from it is I could still make mistakes trading crypto and be profitable and make $100,000 in a month, even though I made a ton of mistakes, or I sold early, or didn't buy the exact bottom. I don't have to be perfect, and I think that's the beauty of trading, is you don't have to be the best trader ever. You just have to be on the right side of the trade more often than not, or have enough size on the trade, or stopping out of the trade when you're wrong, being able to admit you're wrong. There are a ton of different factors there, but sticking to your plan I think was best when I was recording and holding myself accountable to that plan and strategy. So if you enjoyed the video and you want more, you want to get more involved in cryptocurrency, or you want to get more involved in cryptocurrency trading, and you want to actually try and make this happen for you, because I believe it could, you just have to put in the work. I think you should head over to cryptotraderspro.com and get our course. It's a couple $100, but it's the price you pay for tuition in the markets. You could either lose thousands in the markets, or you pay a couple $100, get a course that I spent several months on editing, filming, building for you guys, all the knowledge I learned over the past 7 years, putting it into a course and putting a nice pretty bow on it so you could watch it in a week and learn everything that I know. And eventually you'll be a profitable trader as well, and hopefully you're making videos showing your community that you're making $100,000 on each trade, and you can quit your job and travel the world and be happily ever after. And also, if you guys are not in our free Facebook community, go over to facebook.com/groups/CryptoTradersPro. It'll also be in the description. There are over 50,000 cryptocurrency traders and investors from all around the world. We're having daily discussions and communicating in there every day. It's 100% free. If you're interested in joining Kurt and myself and having discussions on the crypto market and just staying on top of the news and what's going on, that is the best Facebook group that you could be in. So I hope you guys enjoyed my Litecoin trade. I hope you enjoyed watching me make $100,000+. I think it ended up being a total of like $140,000 from the beginning of November to beginning of December of 2017. I think this was really to show you that it is possible. There are people out there making money. There's people making way more than I am. I'm just average trader that is capitalizing on the crypto markets, and that has done very well after developing a strategy and paying my tuition in the market after several years of trial and error, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. So hit that subscribe button, join our Facebook group, and I will see you guys in the next video. Again, this is Matthew from Crypto Traders Pro, and I'll see you on the moon.